Let's roll and Atlas Dog. We here to bring the truth. Jar open this podcast. We breaking through the fake news. They try to silence us, but we will be subdued. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with the bass Christian takes. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up. We won't be swayed. Jar open this podcast where the truth is laid. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Dog. We're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Pulling out the corruption with no inhibition. Jar open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall in a world full of deceit. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street. Keeping it real, never missing a beat. Jar open this podcast where the truth meets the heat. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Dog, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. Jar open this podcast where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling Atlas Dog, fearless in our release. Jar open this podcast where the lies will decrease.
What is up? Let me turn this other light on. All right, that's much better.
Howdy.
How's everybody doing? Let's what's up, Jamie? We'll hang out for a minute here before we get started. Let some people start filtering in. How have you been there, Jamie? I don't think we didn't see it last show. The last one, you might have been busy. What's up, JB? Did you ever get that ham radio figured out? I started tinkering with mine and I have no clue what I'm doing. Well, we'll say a prayer for you when I get off here, Jamie. So hopefully you're back home. You're doing better.
Nice to see everybody here. Sorry if I'm a little distracted. I'm adding some fine tuning to the outline here for tonight.
Yeah. Today was a easy day to be distracted. The Chiefs played. You know, I'm a Chiefs fan. Well, maybe you don't know, but as a Chiefs fan, of course, I had to watch the game. It was on at 1:00. It lasted about 3 hours. So for me, my Saturday was all jacked up, right? I tried to wake up early, but to be honest with you, I was up all night decorating cookies. My wife decided, she's a realtor, she decided that she wanted to give sugar cookies to her clients. So I've been spending the last few nights doing nothing but decorating cookies. Before I chew into this one, here's one of them right here, nice and thick. Yeah, they're fire. I gotta watch myself because I'll eat a bunch of them. I should have brought one of the snowmen in. I've been doing all the snowmen, and they take me like 15 minutes a piece, and they're awesome looking. If I have a minute during the show, maybe I'll jump and grab one. But yeah, I didn't realize I was good at decorating cookies until this holiday season.
That's funny.
I see JB said there's some good videos on YouTube on the ham radio. Y'all have to look them up.
I need to cut this off. So I actually just bought this. Chadwick said that he was listening while Christmas shopping. I actually literally just got this like 40 minutes ago.
Oh yeah? Was it a gift or did you buy it?
No, I bought it. It's like $12. I was like walking through Meijer and it was like $60 marked down to 12, and I was like, I need something like that. Went and got it. It's so comfortable.
Is it a jacket with like a sweater layer underneath? What's underneath?
It's one that's like combined together. So it's like the hoodie underneath with the flannel on top, and then it's got like that winter coat material on the sleeves. So it's like insulatory too. It's super nice.
Nice. Yeah, that's cool. For $12, I'd take that. Although down here there's only like 3 days a year that not 3, but you know, a handful of days where you can even get away with wearing a hoodie. Now, you ask my wife that, and she'll bust out the winter coat, which I'm always embarrassed of. Honestly, she has this big winter coat hanging out like a coat hook, or a coat hook or whatever, and it's like, will you please put that away in the closet? It's making me hot just looking at it. Like, what are you doing?
I feel that. It's like one of those big bubble ones.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Yeah.
a thick one. You know, we're from Kansas City, so we get some pretty brutal winters there. And so it's her leftover, clothes from that we've always had. We got a bunch of long sleeve stuff and full winter gear that I just never wear anymore. And this year I outgrew it all. I got fat, so now like I think I have to buy new hunting gear,
I
like
feel that.
everything. JB said
I actually
Thomas
put
said he
on
would
some
make
weight
a
too.
tutorial. Okay, that's cool. What's that?
I put on some weight too. I was sitting at like 212, felt super skinny. Because I was fasting like all the time. People who follow me on my other stuff too, they know I'm like, former personal trainer.
Yeah.
So like kind of like old habit to break. And then amid the pregnancy, it kind of broke a lot of the rules I had. And I am like, well, I'm still going to the gym, so it's not like it's not all fat here, let me tell myself. But I'm pushing
Yeah.
250 right now.
Oh
So I'm
man.
like 6 foot, like 250.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
pushing
So
weight up like 40 pounds.
I'm like 5'9", probably, maybe 5'8.5", 5'9", and I'm at 204. I weighed myself last night, so I'm at 204, and I've usually walked around my whole adult life about 155. So I never could imagine back then. I was thinking I can't imagine putting 50 pounds on this body, but somehow I did, and I'm not working out. So.
Hey, all that matters is can you stand over Ben Shapiro?
I can see, yeah,
That's all
right.
that matters.
I can see it in my cheeks. It's not fun.
Well, that's when
JB said
that's when
he's
you know you're
6'2",
getting there.
6'2".
It's when you feel like your face is getting fat, and that's when
Yeah,
you're like, "Oh, dude, it's like it's here. It's come for me."
I should go and pull up some old videos of me on my channel and see like how much different I look.
Better to
I
have
got
it than
I
not
got
need it.
almost
I agree.
a year and a half, 2 years of videos put up so far, so I could go back and definitely in those days where I was still skinny.
Yeah, where did it all go wrong?
Yeah, well, I think the sugar cookies aren't helping.
No, I
Definitely not.
agree. We had a bunch of food dumped on us over the holidays. A lot of people being very helpful. We didn't give any of our daughter because she was premium, or what do you call that, premium baby? She was
Yeah,
born at
premature.
35 weeks, so we avoided all of like the early uh vaccinations that they're supposed to get for the schedule. And so because of that, we just decided like we'll probably not go around other people during Christmas and holidays, and
Oh,
like not risk like getting sick and anything. So we had a
yeah.
bunch of people who came over to our place and then gave us a bunch of food, like Thanksgiving food, as well as early kind of Christmas stuff too, like a bunch of ham we got the other day and like gingerbread cookies. They're almost all gone now. I couldn't tell you who ate them though.
That's funny. So my camera just dropped. So I did remember to restart my computer before the stream. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe that's just a one-time anomaly, but might be fighting my camera dropping this stream. So I really apologies. So I'm thinking majority of folks have probably filtered in by now. We don't have very many people today. It's a busy Saturday leading into the holidays, so it makes a little bit of sense, especially with football going on too. Yeah,
Yep.
glitch in the matrix. I saw
Yeah, college
Hellhound.
ball too.
Oh yeah, that's true. I saw Hellhound Hound mentioned that just do the carnivore diet for 30 days and I'll drop 20 pounds. I feel like I probably would. I've never done anything like that, but I don't think I'd have any issues changing my diet up. I mean, I could pretty much, I got enough chicken, or not chickens. I got enough chickens too, but I got enough eggs coming out of the backyard where I could probably eat eggs for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a couple weeks and uh, literally just eat eggs. But
Sounds good to me.
yeah, we've been cutting up ham and throwing it in there, and it's been fire. So dense. Yeah, I love it. JB
Those are
said
the
he just
things.
got home from his family's Christmas party. Well, I appreciate you guys for being here. It's nice to see some familiar faces. Ribeye every night. Yeah. What's funny, Hellhound, is we just signed up for one of those meat companies that sends you like the package every month or however often you schedule it. And um, it was supposed to be here earlier this month and it didn't come. So like, hopefully a new one shows up soon. But we do got plenty of leftover like hamburger meat. I think I think I still got some steaks in there too think they're actually no, they're not ribeyes. What are the ones? They're not strips, but they're the other part of the T-bone. But like a T-bone, the strip is on one side and then it's the other side. Maybe it is a ribeye, actually. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not a steak connoisseur. I love steak, but I couldn't tell you what one was. I just like them.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, one thing I missed was there was a store back in Kansas City called Price Chopper, and they were like specialty was like their butchery or whatever, their butcher area where you get all the meats and stuff. And they used to sell these little pork loins. They were like circles about like that, and they wrap them in bacon and stick like a toothpick in there. And I'd buy they're $1 a piece, and I'd go and buy like 6 of them and grill them up on the grill outside. And my wife and I would eat those things all the time. You could get 2 people to eat for $6 plus a baked potato or whatever. It was nice.
Right. No, I feel that.
What's going on, Donnie? Good to see you here.
Yeah, Donnie. What's up, guys? Hellhound. I think Chadwick Puffington's in here too. I saw him earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. But no, changing direction. I just looking at like the news when I was going to like fill out the outline for today. This last week has been just like one kind of like viral moment after another. I think we said all the time reason we like jumped to more shows was because like we'll just make it easier to cover this stuff. We're doing more shows and it's like it still feels impossible to cover all of this stuff. And maybe that's just because there's so much happening leading up to the end of the Biden presidency. We're kind of like in this crazy period. But there's like so much to pick from, and mainly it was like a lot of drama stuff too, right? I know one thing that I didn't end up putting in the description that we'll start with probably is the Tim Pool lighting up the Luke Beasley kid over his like takes on J6, and I think that all kind of like leads into the fact of there's this escalation of like political violence. And so you're seeing like a lot of these kind of leftists double down on like they think these people should be in prison, regardless that the system says it, let it be so. Tim Pool makes a better argument for it too. But I was just like, I'm glad we're in the Christmas time. It's like it's easy to feel the joy and optimism, but then you look in the political landscape and it's like it's still just as hellish as it was like 3 weeks ago. And so there's a lot to get into today.
Yeah, it's I hate to say it's like there's a lot of ups and downs, but it's just going so fast. It's like you could just stay up or you could stay down just depending on what you're kind of focused on. Like we had the guy, but there was a guy over in, I believe it was Germany, that drove his car through a bunch of Christmas paraders, killing like 11 or 12 people and hurting a lot more. We have the attempt on Nick Fuentes' life. There's all the aftermath still with the Mangione, which that Nick Fuentes thing might be, and this is what Tim Pool said, and I agree, but that might be part of the Mangione effect, they're calling it, where people are kind of being more bold in attacking their perceived opponents. Which we obviously do not agree with.
Right. Well, the one thing we didn't even cover too that kind of slipped between us over these shows was that other shooter, that girl. She was like 15 or 17 years old. I can't remember specifically. She like targeted that Christian school that she used to go to. That seems like it's kind of fallen out of like the news cycle too. And it all is like political violence stuff too, right? Like it's not even just like, oh, look at this crazy story. It's like, no, every single one of these is like someone lost their lives. And with the Nick Fuentes thing too, it was like before he made his way to the house, he had like a personal dispute with like some other random guy. And then he ended up committing a homicide against him and then killed that guy's sister and mother because they were at the home as well. It's really sad because I caught a tweet that somebody saw of the sister, posted on X and said, hey, there's some guy in a motorcycle helmet, but he's driving a car. He's been sitting outside of my house for a while. Well, anyways, and she was like, I don't want to be the typical scared white girl. And then it's like moments later, her life's taken. It's like, it's just tragic all around.
Yeah. It's crazy. But let's see. What do we want? Let's I see since we got some chat going on about the Tim Pool owning, basically. I put it in my title, and put Tim Pool in my thumbnail, so I don't want to bury the lead too far. So we'll probably start off with that. We're just gonna play the video and we'll pause it and give some commentary. We're gonna play it from my channel. I couldn't remember what the timestamps were from the
live show.
The live show. I was scrolling through and I was like, you know what? I made a video about it. I'll just cut right to the chase. So if I end up cutting in, I don't think I did any commentary in the middle, but if I do, I'll skip over that part. But the best part of the debate I included on the video. So
word. Was funny because I got a comment here too from Donnie. I can't believe people keep letting him talk to them like that. You use that big boy voice at me. You better hope you have big boy hands to follow through. It was kind of funny. I think if anyone doesn't know, I'm not any fan. Well, I like Tim's platform, but I'm no fan of Tim Pool. But I did think this moment was pretty solid. I would agree almost with any other instance where he's done this, where it's been like a disagreement and he kind of gets like very angry. But this one is kind of warranted. I think that this Luke Beasley guy is extremely like bad faith actor with a lot of what he says. Now, I even only know about this guy because of Worrell. Worrell showed me that this is the guy who recently brought on Josiah Moody and Isabella Moody to do like that joint show production where it's like red versus blue and they kind of do like that stereotypical like kind of debate presentation of topics. But I kind of wish most people would talk to people who had that kind of opinion over J6 like that. But I understand what you're saying though. There's other ways to go about it. And I think specifically, I think somebody with Tim, when you're in the news every single day, it's probably easy to get angry when someone says something really dumb to you. But not defending him, but I'm also going to say like I'm not going to defend the Luke kid either. I think that was warranted.
Well, he's so smug. Yeah, he's so smug, and it's this convenient thing. You see it with David Pac-Man, Destiny, and Luke Beasley quite a bit. I actually accused Luke Beasley of being a less intelligent David Pac-Man on this video in my intro, but like I said, we're gonna cut around that. But he really does. He's like the same. He uses the same type of like tone to his voice, and anytime you put him in a hypothetical that's partially like real, they want more specifics. They're like the kid in a spelling bee. It's like, spell it. It's like, you know how to spell it, right? But can I have the origin of the word?
Source?
Can you use it in a sentence? It's just like, bro, just put yourself in the hypothetical situation and answer the question. David Pac-Man won't answer what is a woman. They'll beat around the bush. A lot of times their default is to go and blame Trump somehow. It's like, just answer the question. We're not talking about Trump. So what is your opinion? So Luke Beasley, I think, is just kind of one of those type of dudes. And he's practiced at it. And that's why he has so many subscribers on his channel, is because when you do that type of thing, on a daily basis, you become good at it, even if your facts are wrong. But the way that you can word things is you can trip people up by saying, well, provide that. And then somebody will tell you something they know 100% is true. But then it's like, well, I can't right on the spot just go look it up or give you this, source. And so then it throws people off. But we'll just go ahead and get right into this, because some of you guys have seen it. So forgive us if you've seen it, but this was definitely worth replaying anyways, if you've seen it once or twice, because, man, this is really funny. And it reminds me of the time. But there's those few times where Tim really gets genuinely like mad, or like there's the time where RA, the rugged man, said, I'm not that guy, and then stood up and was ready to fight. And Tim Pool just looks him right in the face and goes, I think you are that guy. It was just like, whoa, okay, so at least he's not like a little bitch. He's not gonna like back down or whatever. But maybe that was just because he knew he had the security around. I don't know, but I thought that was hilarious when he came back right away. I think you are that guy.
Well, I think he does have that mentality though, to just kind of halfway agree with Donnie here, or I maybe more so, honestly. 100% agree with Donnie. I think Tim does have that demeanor, because he's like, he knows that he will sue if anything happens here, so he's like, go ahead. So at least that he slightly ballsy to be like, I'm going to take a punch right now, but understand I'm going to sue you for as much as I possibly can in the aftermath. It's funny.
Yeah, I see TNT Cycles. What's up, dude? By the way, he said he likes Isabella. She's funny. Yeah, I've talked to her a couple of times, and she's really good at trolling. She's a good troll. So she becomes entertaining, especially once you understand like where she's coming from. I gotta turn this fan off. I can hear a fuzz when I talk.
I was gonna say, I think, yeah,
Is that
Isabella
better?
might be more
Yeah.
based than her own husband. I think one of those rare combinations. Well, it, what's the right way to say that? What I'll say is, I think Isabella is somebody who actually does like, she's like, she looks at people like Nick Fuentes and laughs. She doesn't have like the reaction of like, oh, I'm dying. These words are killing me. She also sees like a lot of like very edgy humor.
Mhm.
And then I'm like also more familiar with her than I am like Josiah.
I
But maybe
think
there's some
Josiah
change
likes
with
to
that
be like kind
production.
of off the camera.
Yeah,
That's
I'm really
just
not
my
sure what he
guess.
does.
Um, sorry, I was chewing on this cookie, but I know he was one of the dudes. He kind of helped Benny Johnson get started. He was on that team and stuff. So I mean, he's got some good
Okay.
experience, some good credentials and stuff like that. But I think, like I said, I think he just prefers to be off camera and let her kind of not let her, but she prefers to be on camera and he prefers to not be off or not be on camera. I think that's just my opinion. I've never heard them actually say that, but he stays busy. He stays busy. He helps out a lot of YouTube channels that you probably don't even know he has anything to do with, to be honest with you. He helped mine out for a little while there.
Yeah,
But
Mr. Probably more production than actual airtime,
mhm,
acting,
mhm.
theater.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know anything about Donnie said Rugged Man is OGAF. He spits bars. I don't know anything about him, to be honest with you. I only knew him from that one little time he was on Tim Pool, and then kind of the aftermath that went on with it. But
I'd always heard his name. I'm not familiar with any of it, like his music or anything like he's kind of helped
mm,
make. But I did know his name before the podcast. So that was also my intro into like who he was too. I can't even remember what it was they got into an argument about now at this point too. I think it
we
had to
can't.
do with race relations. I think that's what it ended up going down to, was something like regarding race. And then Tim kind of challenged him on that, and then that's what like kind of like sent him over the edge. But they were kind of like very tense leading up to that point, anyways.
Yeah, yeah. It just kind of got to that point. They were kind of like, I can't even remember exactly. I wish I did, but I wasn't planning on even talking about that. But it just reminded me of like some of the most intense moments of Tim. I think that was probably it. Bill Reinhart said Pac-Man's insufferable clown, master of the strongman distraction. Yeah, that's exactly what he is. And then he always prefaces it. They're good at framing, which is something that I need to work on, because you got to be good at framing to it just seems like if you're going to be a thought leader, which I'm really not trying to be, I'm just trying to talk into a camera and have fun. But you got to be able to frame your points. You got to have some uh principles and points that you like to you know support, and the way you frame it is a lot of times how you are seen as successful, or if you got owned yourself.
Yeah.
um at least be able to be aware of it and counter when other people are framing stuff, because that's what these guys do. Pac-Man, Destiny, Jink, they'll frame things and then they'll throw like six different facts at you, and then you only have time to maybe rebuttal that last fact, where say if they threw five or six at you, then it's like, okay, well, this last thing you said I'll address, and then everything else just gets to float, and they get to like what they said basically gets unrebutted. So then a lot more people are more prone to take it as fact, right? But
Yeah.
uh, that's what
It's
this
saying as
this
many
is.
CNN headlines as possible in
Right.
like a 30-second time frame.
Right, and Pac-Man will do this thing, and so does Luke Beasley, and that's another thing that reminds me of them, makes me think that they are similar. God, I couldn't spit that out. Um, is that they'll say, "I want to have a good faith discussion. I want to have a good faith conversation," and then they'll proceed to have the worst faith conversation ever. But they just want to make
Right.
sure that the other person's going to be fair with them, and then they just completely go off the rails.
Well, one thing in particular is like this, it falls in line with the same thing about like, trust the experts, but more so specifically about like with this, like with the court, right? it was this Luke Beasley kid bringing up like, well, the court tried them and this is what the court said. Same thing that happened with like the E. Jean Carroll case with Donald Trump. It was like, the court said this. And these people are like, well, the court said it, so it must be true. The expert said it, so it must be true. And there's not enough kernel of knowledge in these people's heads to be like, maybe that was like corrupt. Maybe that person made a personal decision. Maybe that person was paid to make that choice.
Yeah.
And so it's weird because it does. I do agree with the fact that what Timmy was saying was like these people are like enslaved to the system. It's like if the system says it and enough headlines produce it, and there is consensus on this thing, then that's all they need. Which is like the complete opposite of like what if and to put it even into masculinity and femininity forms. Masculinity is like best defined by that Norman Rockwell painting where he's in the I think they're in a church service or something, and he like stands up and he's like, actually, I think this. And it was like the singular person going against the entire group because he was like, I think that's wrong. And so it just shows like there's layers to it too. But when push comes to shove and he's like, okay, so because they said it, but why? Why did they say this? And then there's like nothing there. There's like no substance. The kid's just sitting there silently. It's like it's really sad. But there's like multiple people like David Pakman, him, Destiny. They all do the same thing. And then when you get any further than what they just say on the surface, beyond the headline, it's like, oh, really? Their evidence was like this that they set up there. It's like it's just so bogus. It's just sad because a lot of people are just kind of sheep.
Yeah. And then there's that next level where you get into Cenk Uygur. And here, let me just I think I got it right here. Cenk Uygur apparently was invited to AmFest and took the stage today. And here, let me put this on the screen because I can't believe he has so many people convinced that he's turning right wing or that he's moving towards the right at all. It's really disappointing. I've tried to make a point of pointing out the hypocrisy multiple times on the channel, but the fact is, when you do what he just did and go on Timcast, go on PBD, go on all this whole big circuit that he did of what he would call right wing channels, you're reaching a lot more people. And when you say the few things that they agree with, which is a part of why I say that you got to be good at framing, because that's what Cenk Uygur has been doing. Is he's framing these things, trying to say that he knows what people agree with. And that's why it's funny, because these people are way smarter than they present. David Pakman will be like, well, I don't know what you're talking about. But it's like, well, then how can you have any of this conversation? But these people are smarter than they present as at times, and that's just when it's convenient for them. But watch the reception that Cenk Uygur got today at AmFest. And this was a post by George. I'm not sure who George is, but it says, wow, the crowd at America Fest just gave Cenk Uygur a standing ovation to welcome him. And never in my life did I think this would be happening. Respect to Cenk for showing up. So no respect to Cenk for showing up. He did it for his own good. He did it for his own purposes. It's self-serving. But here's the video. It's real short.
Cenk, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that warm welcome. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
No.
So this is a consequence of, and it's unfortunate too, but it's the consequence of making things too big to rig, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was making the umbrella so large that you compromise on your hardest values, reaching across the aisle to bring people in. Pragmatically, that's what made sense at the time, but there are consequences to doing so, right? And so now it's like, what Cenk is like, well, I can easily slide over here because these people now share, 85% of what I agree with on these things.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I think there is a part of this, which is him grifting, obviously, and what you said, which is that these people are a lot smarter than what they play out to be.
Yeah.
They'll say the dumbest things. And part of it too is like, I think this is exemplified with Destiny more so than maybe the rest of them. But saying things that are just so egregious, knowing that your engagement will skyrocket because you're going to get clipped by any other conservative person in the space who's like, there's no way this person said that. And next thing you know, you're everywhere and people are watching your content because it's hate watching. It's like hate views too.
Yeah.
But to go back to the original thing, it's just like, I see this with people now. So with like Konstantin Conan, Cenk Uygur, just to name a few, that because the Trump movement, which is what they kind of pride themselves on, which is like, kind of bringing in all these different groups. Well, that comes with the cost, and there are consequences to that. Which is why there are nervous ends on things like deportations, right? How far is that going to go? I saw something with Tom Homan, I believe, saying like, well, they're going to just start with just like the violent offenders, and so now they're already kind of like walking back a lot of these like more harder positions, because it's again like this attempt to appease everybody inside that tent. And I think at a certain point, it's like you look across the aisle, these leftists who aren't going to come across, right, the crazy ones, are
Mhm.
like, it's our way or the highway, or with Luigi, it's like, or death.
Yeah, that's the cult.
And with us, we're always like, well, let's compromise on this too. And it's like, well, you can never move things in a pro position, in a positive form, further to the right, if you're always like taking one step and then being like, okay, now how can I compromise here? It's like, dude, take 10 steps and then like maybe think about compromise there. But that's why you see Cenk having the reception of what he did, right? People kind of enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. I just wanted to address this. TNT said, I don't think people think he's flipping. He is talking slightly more normal, but I think they appreciate his willingness to talk. Most leftists won't. And right or wrong, he does seem to love America in his own sick way. Followed up. But yeah. The thing about it is Cenk just he's this is just my opinion, nobody knows his true intentions, but judging off of the yeah buts that he says when he's in these back and forth conversations, I think that's him. Yeah, people appreciate his willingness to talk, but I think it's part of his self-preservation. He understands that in order for him to stay relevant for the next 4 years, he can't just sit up there and say Trump bad, when knowing that Trump just won everything. The Republicans just won everything. And so he is concerned about being on the wrong side of history. And that's why we see this little circuit that he's done, because we might see, and we might see more people from the left start doing more right-wing shows. Like, it would be great to see David Pacman go on Timcast, or I doubt Destiny would ever go on there, and he probably shouldn't. I think Phil might might crush him.
Well, I think Destiny's been on there before. I'm
Has
pretty
he?
sure he has. Yeah.
I don't know if he has. I don't think he would. The way that he talks about him now, and the way that Phil posts about him on X, I don't think they'd want to be in. They don't want to have him in the same place. But
Yeah, well, for good reason.
yeah. But sorry, I took a bite of that cookie, and I think one of the freaking sprinkles went down my windpipe. I'm like dying over here.
You get somebody to do the Heimlich.
Right. Get my dog to do that. Jump on my back. I'm here by myself right now, of course.
Yeah, drop kick you in the chest.
She always jumps up and scratches me, so maybe that would help. But let's see here. Sorry, I was just saying, and I think a lot of people are seeing it from TNT Cycle's perspective. They appreciate his willingness to talk. I'm just super cautious about this guy. He spent nearly a decade opposing Donald Trump, and overnight you don't just switch your values. I think it could have something to do with one of the comments he said when he was on Timcast. He believes that the money is on the right, and so maybe his Soros money is drying up, and he's trying to appeal to some new sponsors, new big funders, however you want to word it.
Yeah.
But that's just my own opinion on it. But as a Christian, whatever path to redemption, I'll leave him a path to redemption. But he has to prove it for the next 4 years, for the next few years, that he's being for real, to convince me. That even kind of goes with Vivek. I've said that before on the show, that I love everything that Vivek said, but he kind of just came out of nowhere And if he maintains the current status quo for the next, 4 years through the Trump presidency, he'll be a strong candidate for the future to maybe actually be the Republican on the presidential ticket one day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, me being the radical that I am, I think I said this a couple shows ago. I'm at the point now where I really don't want any non-Christian individual to take the mantle of the presidency. I think the closer we get to this large multiculturalism is another step forward into the Babel agenda, as people have been calling it, deeming it. It's exactly what it is. You know, progress, but not in the name of progressivism, right? It's like all these people, like Vivek put out this thing the other day, talking about how like we're just like the Republicans are so accepting of homosexuals now. Like this is your party too. Like come on in, and it's like, if it was in a sense of like we'll help you like walk back from these things. We know we disagree with you, but we're not going to shun you completely. But come on and yeah, I saw that's pretty funny. But come in and like we won't rebuke you, in harsh ways as long as you come over here and be like, hey, you kind of repent, right? That's probably the best way to say it.
Yeah.
But what we're getting is like with House Leotardo right there is our trainees are better than your trainees. GOP 2028. That's what we see with Blair White, right? It's like all these trainees, like these ones are bad. We don't like Dylan Mulvaney, but we love Blair White. And it's like, what's the principle there? Right?
Yeah, I
It's like,
can't
there
bring
is no
myself to
principle.
follow Blair on X. Anytime it comes across one of the posts comes across, I'm just like, I can't follow. I can't do it. I don't know why. But
Well, it does
call
creep
me
up a little
whatever.
bit.
It just, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, you phobe. No, I wouldn't. I agree. I see her tweets occasionally, but she's like got a massive platform. Or, yeah, man, he's got a massive platform, and but
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff I'm talking about, like this watering down of all the values, which is like we already had to do this thing with the abortion, right? It was like that's a losing issue. We can't do it, and it's like, well, now that we won, let's start working on pushing towards those values and stop kind of trying to re-implement the liberalism that lost to the left. Like instead of like repeating the cycle all over again, it's like, why don't we move like towards a further Christian right position? And that's me, and I'm a bit more radical than I think most people are, but I think that movement's growing. I think you see that with all of the people who are adjacent to somebody like Nick Fuentes. You see big accounts like Luigi, Andrew Wilson, Elijah Schaefer's moved to that position, Orrin McIntyre. There's a lot of individuals like that too. I think, you even have podcasters who are in the Christian space like Stone Choir, Joel Webbin with Right Response Ministries. There's a lot of people who are trying to do that, to push those positions. It's unfortunate because the only one that really kind of speaks to it in politics is Dusty Devers. He's in there in Oklahoma. The people call him like the Christian Prince, kind of banging stuff around. I think it's pretty solid there, but that's why you can't, there are consequences to making something too big to rig.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's go ahead and play this video here, and we'll cut in when the time is right. But this was just so good to me. There was so many times where like you just laugh or like, yes, get him.
Second boy.
It was just so great. And the topic at hand was you guys can see what I watch all the time. I love that. First things first with Nick Wright, those guys. It's always on my up next. But yeah. So I'm glad it's not something weird, That's why I don't watch weird stuff. It's usually woodworking or this weather guy. I like this weather guy. I don't know why.
No, I feel that. Let's let it rip.
Yeah. To the volume by halfway.
Either on the left or the right, and you attack a cop.
Guys, let me know how the volume is on this.
Depending on the severity of the attack. Like if we're talking about you're at a riot and you punch a cop or shove them, 6 months to a year is probably good.
NPR just reported on the 12th that President Biden can use the sentence for 1,500 people. Some say he could do a lot more. 1,500 people.
No, but he already said that was wrong. That's fine.
No, not all of those. I was saying Hunter Biden.
Luke, do you feel as though more Democrats were willing to justify the BLM riots than Republican elected officials were to condemn January 6th?
Well, interestingly, a lot of I will answer the left wing in a second, but a lot of the Republican politicians just changed their position. So initially it was like
Sure.
unanimously
Yeah.
that was bad. Now almost all of them apologize for what happened that day. And we all, as I was explaining one of the times here, just we all missed the broader danger of trying to block the peaceful transfer of power that led up. January 6th wasn't the whole thing. That was
Sure.
the ending, and that was more individuals. But Trump's effort to prevent Biden from coming to office is what I really take issue with. But no, now a bunch of Republicans apologize for it, which is terrible. And then Democrats.
No, but the question was specifically for the
Democrats-
Democrats.
Yeah, I'm getting it. And
okay.
then I couldn't tell you.
Any
my
Democrats
guess,
who were
my
condemning
guess would be
BLM writ large.
that more Republicans have apologized for the violence on January 6th
Okay.
than Democrats. But let me get to the caveat. Then Democrats who apologize for violence during BLM, very limited. They would all say violence is bad, but the cause was.
It's
Right.
the voice of the unheard,
Yeah.
like MLK. Remember?
But then I'd get to, I think it's a fair criticism to say maybe some were too quiet about the violence. Like none of them were out there saying this is fine.
Well,
Yes,
they were
they
taking a knee. They were taking a knee. Many of them, Nancy Pelosi and
Yeah,
some
but you're
Democrat
mixing like
leaders, and they were
they would
putting
show
their
up to a
fists-
peaceful protest, and then as a part of that, people would be exploiting.
Maxine
that.
Waters with the
And then-
whole you have to
yeah.
go find them in restaurants and you have to
Get
get
up
in their
in
face.
face. Like that's not direct
That's
influence, but that's something-
encouraging.
Here's two phrases for
as
you.
well.
Respect the diversity of tactics, and snitches
Keep
get
bringing that up.
get stitches.
There, what? Okay.
No, but then Kamala Harris
no,
also was posting a bill
Right,
fund
so-
for
yeah.
BLM rioters, and
It's just weird.
So-
Y'all are the ones supporting the politicians who say this, like Trump,
Say what?
who justify violence.
When did Trump justify violence?
I thought we just went through them.
We didn't. I asked you for examples, and you said, "I don't know."
This
Don't just
is really
squint at me.
weird.
Tell me what you think.
That's my favorite line right there. Don't just squint at me. Tell me what you think.
We
That
just
was
waiting
so
for
good.
some kind of BS answer to come flowing out.
Mm-hmm. And look, I pause it right when he's squinting. So good. But yeah, I actually thought this dude was older than 21, just out of a guess. But I mean, I guess for him, he's doing good for a 21-year-old. But man, he needs to get out of that Democrat echo chamber.
Yeah. Well, he looks. I mean, dude. The unfortunate thing is a lot of we're seeing this more often. Like with what was that Dean Withers kid, who like went on like that Jubilee show and got a huge following out of it too. And he's also like, like early 20s, but they look nothing like it. They look like teenagers. And this is, whether you want to say it's the food or something like that, it's like there's something that happened where like testosterone just got pulled out of our ecosystem, and like young men growing up just do not have it for whatever reason. And you
Right.
see it too, like the very, very kind of thin builds, wiry, nasally, smug. They all kind of like have that like the sneaky fucker, scientific term,
Yeah.
which is like, they have that kind of beta male build where they agree with women because they think that's the number one thing that'll help appeal to get them sexual access. It's super sad, it's an epidemic, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. TNT Cycle says that comb over ... forwards LMAO. Yeah, for real. Let's see it. Pull the hair up, guy. Pull the hair up.
Yeah, no, I'm bald. I'm shaved, dude.
Yeah.
I'm an old
Yeah.
man now.
I got a lot of hair, but I'm starting to go back a little bit, but I got all this. What's his name?
Party in the back.
The native patriot. When he was on, his hair was all over the place. I'm like, I should start wearing my hair down more often, but I don't know. It just gets in my way.
Yeah.
High fruit. And Tix Bomber said high fructose corn syrup, plastic fluoride, God knows what else.
Yeah, microplastic in the balls. I think that was a big headline not too long ago.
Right. What up, Fled Nanders? Donnie said, let's see it. All right, so here, I gotta take my headset off.
You've been challenged.
My problem is I can't hear you at all, but my problem is I'm going gray.
Oh, we got the the Nickelback going on. You look at this photograph. I was waiting for you to say that.
There we go. I couldn't hear you. But
You got to sing "Look at this photograph." So you were the guy from Nickelback.
I had somebody actually compare me to Nickelback and the singer for Creed in one comment. He was like, if singer from Nickelback and dude from Creed had a baby, that would be this guy or something like that. I thought it was funny. I was like, it's
That's good stuff.
dead on a Sunday morning. That song rocked back in the day. My girlfriend didn't like rock and roll music at the time, and she heard me like I was listening to it at the pool. I was like singing to it, and she's like, "You like that song?" It's like mad at me because I liked it. Yeah,
People get tribal about music.
for real.
Oh, see, your camera couldn't take it, dude. That's
Yeah.
so much aura the camera about broke down.
Either that or I broke it.
That's funny. I hope not. Mine fell over and mine works perfectly fine.
Let's see. That's funny. So yeah, I've been dying to know what that mane looks like. Yeah. So it's pretty thick and it's long, but you know, it is what it is. I like it. I've never had long hair in my life until like 2 years ago when I started growing it out. And to tell you the truth, this is like half of the beard that I used to have. Like it used to be more like yours, but even longer.
Dude, mine used to be even longer. I couldn't deal with it. Mine used to be like almost down here.
Yeah.
It got,
Nice.
I mean, gets so itchy. You like
I
the
was-
amount of water you need to hydrate, like to keep it from like drying out and being itchy is insane. Just like too much upkeep.
Yeah, I was inspired by the Duck Dynasty guys.
Yeah, that's actually a good reference. You could probably go to on Duck Dynasties right now and like be like, hey, I'm the third brother. I did this. No one would bat an eye.
Right. I'm Phil's long lost son. Speaking of which, that guy, he needs our prayers. He's been diagnosed, the dad, Phil Robertson, he's been diagnosed with some bad stuff. The future looks kind of grim for him. Some dementia and some other things. So that kind of sucks. Somebody we should maybe keep in our prayers. William Stacy said Rob Zombie. Yeah, I'll take that for sure. Rob Zombie puts on a great show. I don't know if you guys have ever actually been to a zombie concert, but he's got tall robots walking on stage. He's got flamethrowers. He's definitely a good entertainer. No,
No,
bro, don't do the Nickelback reference. You either love Nickelback or you hate Nickelback, and it's kind of like you love Nickelback and hate Nickelback at the same time. Because then, like that one song comes on, you're like, "Dang it, I'm singing to it. What am I doing?"
Yeah.
It's like when a Rush song came on when I was a kid. I hated Rush, but they used to play it like on repeat on the radio back home, and so I knew a couple of the songs like word for word, and I hated it. Then I catch myself sometimes and just like, what am I doing?
No, I probably got like 2 or 3 Nickelback songs on my Apple Music saved in my library somewhere. I won't lie. I'm unafraid. I listen to Nickelback sometimes.
Have you ever seen the video of that guy? He acts like he's I think it's Nickelback, and he acts like Nickelback is the best band. And he's like doing like selfie videos of himself acting like he's telling his friends, let's get in the car and like go listen to some Nickelback. And I don't know. You'd have just had to see him for me to understand what I'm talking about. But he did a few of them, and I watched them all in a row one day. It was cracking me up.
That's
he does
funny.
it with Smash Mouth too. He's like, "Come on, let's go ride and listen to some Smash Mouth." He's like, "Smash Mouth is the best band ever."
Probably do it for every band that's popular until a video goes viral.
Right. Which is funny is oh wait, no, that's not the same person. Never mind. I got him confused with Uncle Cracker for a minute.
Uncle
Bobcat
Cracker I've
Wolfenstein.
seen live.
Nice. I've seen him live, but only when like he was with Kid Rock in concert. I've never seen him doing like his Uncle Cracker stuff, but he used to be the DJ for Kid Rock and Twisted Brown Trucker.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's where he came up. And they've known each other for a long time, actually. They did this old song called Crack Rocks back like in the mid 90s. And they sound exactly the same. Yeah, they sound exactly the same as each other. Bobcat said I saw Zombie for about 5 songs and headed out. I wasn't there to see him. It doesn't sound very good live, if you ask me. Oh, I thought he put on a good show, but that was in the 90s. I saw him. He opened for Korn, and then I saw him again at like a rock fest or something like that. I can't remember what the second one was. But yeah, Korn, 30 years this year or something. I think it's this year. Those dude's been around forever. All right, so let's go back to this video. Sorry, got off on a tangent.
No, it's like whenever you don't have an answer, you just get
Because we haven't even got to the good part yet. We're just leading into it. But I will say, yeah, I know, right?
confused and say, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, I'm genuinely confused.
Okay,
that
let's
you're
try
not
this again.
listening to me. because
Well, I am, but
obviously, if
I ask you a question and you just don't answer, and then you go sophistry.
because I only speak
ad hominem.
I only speak on. I haven't done ad hominem.
All you're doing is saying you do this, you do that, you do this. You're not actually giving me substance.
Oh no, I was saying I was just shocked that you didn't listen to my substance earlier. But yeah. So the January 6th, while I'm only going to speak on things I'm very informed on, so I'm not going to tell you exactly to the month that they should get. I do respect the fact that they were prosecuted in a court of law, and I don't think Trump to send a message to his base that what happened on January 6th was good, which is why he would do such a pardon. Should be pardoning folks who were violent. Or
I think 3 years is long enough.
Yeah, and that's a wrong stance, but okay.
How's it?
It's actually way too long for trespassing. Now, you're talking about the people that fought the cops. It's a different story, but that's probably still long enough. And if you go by the BLM riots precedent, it's way, way, way too long. And that all happened in the same year, that Summer of Love. But typically, the first trespassing violation is a warning and don't let me catch you on this property ever again, which it was a public building. I don't even know how they got trespassing.
Because of a barrier. If there's a barrier up, there's no need for a verbal warning. So crossing a barrier actually becomes an automatic trespass.
That's interesting because the thing is that those barriers were laying flat on the ground. It was just police tape on the ground, like everywhere. So you couldn't really or not police tape, but caution tape or whatever everywhere on the ground because those barriers were very easily taken down by people who got there first.
Right.
So it's kind of a question mark where the barrier actually was. And if the doors were open from the inside, that's essentially permission, you know what I mean, to come in. So I don't know.
Right. You're getting waved on.
Yeah. What's up, Chris?
Just explain it to you.
No. You didn't. You said the court process should play out the way it is. My opinion on the amount of time should be served for a crime is not just wrong because you like courts.
No, I get
You
that.
need to explain
I'm saying
why the time frame I'm asserting should be longer than 3 years.
No, I'm saying the default, you have to have overwhelming, compelling evidence that someone has been wronged to justify a president stepping in and saying, I'm subverting the justice system outcome. Do you agree with that premise?
No.
That's immoral.
So yeah, you're making a fascist argument.
If you enjoy content like this, make sure to
Oh,
hit
my
that
bad.
like button and ring
It's
the
real quick.
notification bell.
A
I feel like I
fascist
know
argument?
that guy.
Do you want to make
Like I said, I'm playing it from my own channel. It's one of those things I finally started doing in the beginning. I never like to ask for people to subscribe or anything in the beginning, but the more I pay attention to those type of details, I'm realizing that even the biggest dudes ask, biggest channels ask in the beginning. So you know what? Why not do it this? Why not copy their blueprint?
One of us.
TNT, I thought it was a Duck Dynasty commercial. Well, I mean, Molotov cocktail.
That's good. That was good.
Yeah, that's funny.
That's your comment, TNT.
Yeah, for sure. Takes Bomber said Molotov cocktail folk got everything legal paid for by Kamal and the Dims. Yeah, exactly. They were all, slap on the wrist, go back out there and do it again tomorrow.
making the fascist argument that the hierarchical structure of government is just and should be upheld regardless.
Why? Okay, I'm not going to ask that. This is
right. And so the system we have is
I'm just not loving, and this is a way of celebrating violence that Trump is celebrating those as far as a pardon and in his rhetoric and in his national anthem thingy. People who attacked the Capitol. Why did they attack it? Because they believe lies about the election.
There's a variety of reasons why people were violent on January 6th. Largely that they
you got a solo shot.
You could just be like, hey, that's bad. You don't have to keep going.
I went to type in the comments and I didn't put my cursor in the comment, so I was just doing like commands with the keyboard. I'm glad I didn't like end the stream or something like that, just trying to type back. I was gonna say Tix Bomber said I need a 15-year-old plastic cup. This one's a few years old. It's a few years old, but I do have some of those. Actually, you know what's funny is one time I did buy like this little it was like they're running a charity or something, and they're like, send us like $50, we'll give you some things back in return. And they sent me like I got a Phil Robertson bobblehead, and I got the same little cup, that skinny cup that Uncle Si carries around, but it said Duck Dynasty on it. And I think I had a couple of them actually, but I don't think they're around anymore. I think they I think they're packed away from the move, and I never unpacked them.
It's funny. It reminds me of all like the restaurant cups you'd used to keep, depending on where you'd get the kids cup. My parents would always keep those, and we'd use them as like actual like cups at home.
Yeah.
I'd never bought cups for like at Walmart or anything like that.
All right, well, you see this?
Like, all of them.
This is 25. This was a dude that, I don't know, he might still play for the Rays, but we went to a Rays game a few years back, or a series. We went to 4 games in a row when the Royals were in town. And I'm one of those dudes that I got no shame. I'll walk around and pick up all the cups that people leave behind. You had to buy like a $9 beer, $11 beer, maybe 15. I can't even remember to get this cup. It's like thick plastic. And so I got like 15 of them.
Yeah, your souvenir cup.
Yeah. Like I bought one so I could have the souvenir cup, and then I'm like, what am I doing? I know I'm going to walk around and claim a bunch in the end. So then that's what I did. I got a whole bunch of them every day. I picked up a few. I've been doing that since I was a kid, though. I think one of my first Royals games I went to, my dad took me and my friends that lived across the street. We like put stacks of cups, like huge stacks of cups in the trunk, and we had cups for years after that.
That's funny.
There's a variety of reasons why people were violent on January 6th. Largely that they believe
You
the
could
election
just
was
be like, "Hey,
stolen.
that's bad." You don't have to keep going.
Well, I've called for their arrest and prosecution. Like this is not a shock to my audience.
My reporting
Really
is
disagree.
responsible for the arrest of a couple of January.
My point
6th
is that
rioters.
if you've got somebody on a misdemeanor charge who's been held without trial, a pardon makes perfect sense, unless you're a fascist. And the system is just. So it's like Benjamin Franklin, who said it is better that 100 guilty persons escape than one innocent person suffer. You've taken the Otto von Bismarck approach of it is better that 10 innocent people suffer than one guilty person escape.
No.
Yeah.
Well, okay, you have.
No,
Right.
I
So
haven't.
no. Stop. You don't know anything about these January 6 cases.
Here we
You
go.
don't know why these people are in jail. You don't know that a man is in Brooklyn right now for 3 years without charge or trial. And when Donald Trump says these people have been held for too long, you say, no, Trump is wrong. Keep them locked up. That's fucking fascist. Dude, you've been sitting here with no knowledge of the specifics of some of these cases. There is a man in Brooklyn right now. I'm going to say it again. No charges whatsoever brought. And he's been in jail for 3 fucking years. For you to sit there and say it is good that he remains locked up is fascism. That is saying the hierarchical system of the courts and the government is just, and the process is all that matters. And I am saying perhaps 3 years is enough, because I actually have moral logic and an understanding of these cases. Hence, my position on January 6th has always been the people who have attacked police must go to prison. But 3 years is a fucking long time for assault on an officer. We have seen people on the far left, notably when they were firebombing shit all across Minnesota, 33 people murdered. And how many criminal charges did we get for this? When they firebombed a police station and forced the police to evacuate. On May 29th, 2020, when thousands of far leftists firebombed the White House grounds and set fire to St. John's Church and injured 100 police officers, how many fucking people went to prison for 3 years? How many of them who never showed up on that day are in prison for 20 years? Enrique Tarrio wasn't even in D.C. on January 6th. And you are saying that man who his only crime was, quote, don't leave. That's his only crime. You think he should be in prison for 20 years because you're a fascist. You don't care what the facts are. You don't care if this is unjust. You only care that the machine state has decreed you are not to be locked up. And this is the problem I have with the left. They don't know the facts. They don't care about the facts. They view morality as a blanket government stroke of the pen, and every person, regardless of their crime, should be in prison for decades. I reject it outright. The people who fought cops should go to prison. They did. It's been 3 years. But when you've got people who are on misdemeanor charges for having walked into a building at 4 p.m. after the riot, and I know some of these people, they walked into a building for 2 minutes and walked out, and they got 18 months for that. I don't see you defending the innocent people who walked onto a public grass at a public building after a riot had been completed. You don't know. You don't care. You've taken a tribal position, and people are suffering because of it. Now you say that Donald Trump saying the injustice that we've seen warrants commutation or pardons. You say that means he's advocating for violence. This is the ultimate problem. Then you cite a press release from Maryland saying, but the right's more violent. There is a distinction between a white supremacist as a right-wing group and a run-of-the-mill Christian conservative who showed up on that day not to protest. Let's talk about Brandon Strzok. He never went in the building. He was on the other side of the building. There was a permitted protest. He walked up the stairs and he was yelling. They put this guy in prison. There is Owen Schroyer, who was at a permitted rally, who was yelling death to communists. They put him in prison and specifically cited his speech. My dude, you don't know what you're talking about. And it's fine. I get it. We try to be polite. We try to be nice. But there are so many young liberals who sit here and say, the corporate press told me that these people are bad and the machine state government has decreed it by pen. So I don't care what crime they committed. I don't care what the jury said. I don't care who was on the jury. Enrique Tarrio, who was not there, should be in prison for 2 decades. Tell me this now. Why is Enrique Tarrio in prison?
Yeah, so they uncovered with him his plot to overthrow the government.
Yeah, so I know that one. I know this. Wrong. Look, I remember seeing on the local news that day that he was arrested at the airport. And the reason why they arrested him was because he had an empty magazine in the trunk of his car. So he wasn't there. He was in custody that day. And it might have actually been the day before that happened. I think it was actually the day before that happened.
Yeah,
so,
it was like leading up to it.
Yeah, so that was it was big on like the little local news there. And I don't know if that story really even went that far abroad, but it's funny. He like sits forward. He's like, "Oh, I know this," but then this happens.
Enrique Tarrio?
Yeah, and his organization.
What plot? Who's they? Give me some
prosecutors.
Give me some fucking data. Stop squinting at me and saying the prosecutors did a thing. You didn't know. You didn't read it. You didn't read the court papers. All you know is the fascist machine state told you he should be in prison, and you're saying yes to them. Tell me why.
No,
Give me the data.
I understand that laws on the books have been there for a long time. That I agree with. That if it's proven that you had a plan and you wanted to act on it, and then days after,
the proof?
The proof. Is
say the proof.
By
Don't
prosecutors.
ask. Say it.
Communications between.
What communications? What did he say? What did he do?
Is this serious?
Are you going to tell me why you think Enrique Tarrio should be in prison for 20 years? Or are you going to say the government decreed it?
I just explained to you.
So the government said so. Is that it?
It's usually law enforcement, which I guess is part of the government.
Government said so?
Yep. Law
you can't
enforcement that uncovers evidence of communications, a memo that he crafted and sent to his organization.
Saying what?
That detailed each institution of government that they were going to try to overthrow. Then just days later, his organization is at the Capitol.
I don't think we can even pull up Enrique Tarrio.
I'm not quite sure that there's any evidence of that sort.
Phil doesn't even know what to do.
You know what? I'll say this.
I know he's just
the idea
all
that
struck.
Enrique
He's just like, this complete nonsense. Did you just say that? It's funny that they're saying his organization rather than the name of the dudes. It might be something that YouTube doesn't like you to say, so I guess we'll avoid saying it. But we all know. Well, shit, I don't give a shit. It's the Proud Boys is who he's talking about, his organization.
Tarrio crafted a memo outlining or they 3 months featured witness evidence issued at Tarrio and co-defense included videos, thousands of messages in encrypted chat groups, as well as a public message on Parler. On or before January 6th, Tarrio convened a Ministry of Self-Defense to coordinate Proud Boys leadership on January 6th. The chat showed that Tarrio, stationed in Baltimore, encouraged the Proud Boys as they attacked the Capitol. Let's figure out what that encouragement was. Are they going to actually say in the article? So here's a citation. Proud Boy and 3 other members of the far-right groups were convicted Thursday and applied to attack the Capitol.
And this is just kind of a side note trying to prove him wrong. But the fact is, he was in jail. He couldn't have given, instructions that day. So I'm going to skip forward just a little bit. I want to say Gary Maynard. Yeah, what's weird is this is the first notification that should have gone out from my channel today. And YouTube gives you 3. I didn't post any other videos or anything like that. So, one, I want to thank you for having your notifications turned on. But secondly, I don't know why it didn't send that out. Let me see if I got one on my little backup phone here.
You have.
I didn't. I don't know why the notification didn't go out for this show. That's pretty messed up.
Incorrect opinion detected.
Right. But I'm glad you're here. Seeing Phil Labonte and Buck Angel in the same room at the same time. No, I
Yeah.
haven't. I haven't.
No. Well, it's funny. Me and Donnie actually went back and forth with Phil multiple times. Once together, and then once it was just me and Phil. Me and Phil actually exchanged video like on X, like talking shit to each other. And I can't remember what it was specifically that was even about. But it was weird. Donnie actually challenged him on something. I disagreed with him too, and then he literally just called him like he called Donnie. Yeah, he called Donnie a socialist. I can't remember what specific issue it was about that sparked that one. But I'm pretty sure Donnie's blocked now by both Tim Pool and Phil Labonte. So Donnie's done the work.
Well, you know you're doing stuff when people start blocking you.
Yeah.
Let's see how much is left in this. Okay, we still got a little bit. We still got a couple minutes, so we'll go ahead and play it out here.
Proud Boys to do it again. So the question then becomes, in the bigger picture,
So are you gonna at all acknowledge that you just blew up over something that I was absolutely citing fairly?
I don't think you cited it fairly.
I think people should be prosecuted for
Yeah.
engaging in plans to overthrow a government. That's kind of
That's
bad.
that's a very loose definition of plans to overthrow the government.
Y'all don't seem to be that informed.
Wait,
on
look,
the
respectfully,
plan
I cover a
yourself.
lot of protests and riots. A lot of people try to protest and riot and occupy government buildings. Do you think that qualifies as trying to, overthrow your government?
No.
Okay, good. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
but if they had a plan to take control of the government, which was this one,
If this was an
Is
actual
that
plan, this
a
was
plan?
the leastly
That's how they
poorly,
take
most
over the government.
ridiculous plan ever. They went after people for having Lego sets. I mean, the level of political
Yeah.
prosecution here. Would you even admit that there was some
Hey JB, take care, man. Hope you start feeling better.
level of politics?
We'll talk to you in the Discord. And by the way, you guys, we do have a Discord. So if you want to, join the Discord if you're into that, the link is in the description of both of our videos. I believe it is. I know it is on mine.
When it came to the prosecution of the
Mhm.
J6ers, would
Yeah.
you say politics played a
Because
role in
I'm
this?
engaging with this as thoughtfully as possible, not trying to grandstand. Of course, often for very justifiable reasons, prosecutors will try to make an example of someone who, for example, tried to overthrow the government to prevent the peaceful transfer of power. I see why such a thing
Personally, I reject the idea that
categorized
is
as
trying to
sedition
overthrow the government.
would be uniquely bad to prosecutors and political in that this all involved politics, right? And thus,
I'm sorry, I have to
message has
say
to be
this. The Wikipedia article making those claims is not citing any actual proof that they said those things.
Okay, so that's it right there. And I'll just follow that up by saying, well, first off, I want to say Tix Bomber, I don't know if you saw I said thanks in the chat, but appreciate you for being subscribed and having us open on both devices. That's pretty cool. That's
Yeah.
oh, I just kicked my dog. I appreciate the support. We both do. That's awesome. That's what everybody should do. But
I'm surprised it even shows me, to be honest. I'll take that. YouTube W.
TT said he's such a effing bot. Yeah, he really is. And the guy's 21, but he seems to. I'm not giving him. He's the old. He's young. He doesn't know any better excuse. I'm not doing that one. But let's see. Sorry, I was checking my other phone. Yeah, it's just not there. But make sure you guys are hitting the thumbs up and sharing the video, especially if you're on X. I want to try to reach more people on X.
I
I'll
forgot
subscribe when. Oh, say again.
I actually forgot about that. Phil was like in this series of like just going to the gym, and like it was like literally every other day he kept posting like a photo of himself, and it was getting pretty homosexual there at a certain point. I remember that was when Donnie started calling a Buck Angel. Some of them were pretty aggressive, right? There comes a certain like point of cringe where it's like, I don't even know how old Phil is at this point, right? Probably like early 40s, maybe even younger than that. Could be wrong. Maybe he's older than that, to be honest. I don't know. But even when you see it, you're like, come on, dude. I'm like, this is me on X, like political thing, and then like a massive thirst trap from Phil. It's like, whoa, like I'm on Instagram right now. let me get off of this here. I don't want to look at that right now.
Oh my goodness. I just Googled Buck Angel so I could try to show you.
Did you not know who it was?
No, I knew who she was. But like every picture is with the shirt off. Like I don't know if we can even share that, even though it's weird.
I feel like YouTube enjoys what do they call them? Top scars. Is that the right word for it?
Yeah, right. Let's see. That doesn't look like Phil, but he did in the other ones.
When Donnie said it, I didn't connect the dots, and then I looked at it. And I'm like, it's kind of similar.
That's him right there. Her. Yeah.
That's their go-to when they're like, "Oh yeah, you don't want trans people to use the bathrooms? Well, where's Buck Angel supposed to go?" And it's like, I don't care, dude. like, Buck did that to himself. He needs to be responsible.
Right.
Like, stop making grown men go into the especially now that I have a daughter. It's like, no. It's like we're not playing that game, dude. Like Buck can go outside behind the dumpster if he feels terrified.
Go pee in
making
the
that happen to my
psych
daughter.
ward.
Well, that too. Yeah, that's a step.
For real. So let's see here.
Donnie's just a natural disruptor.
Yeah, he said I'll subscribe when you start offering those get out of gulag free cards. I got worldview
And it
and
has just like Russian on it too.
stream. I got worldview and topless trannies on stream. Damn it, you did. I didn't like it either.
Clipped.
It's uncomfortable.
Very uncomfortable. It's actually
like what about
it's
my
actually more
safe
uncomfortable to be
space?
around them.
Yeah. What about my safe space?
Yeah. Now I'm triggered.
So there was something he mentioned there, and I feel like did I see it in the outline? Temple brought up Owen Schroyer, not with the T. And what happened with him, how he had to spend time in prison when he was literally a speaker for a permitted rally, right? They had a permit. Which was cool actually. I ran into him and Alex Jones before all that when we were walking from one place to the other, came across them. They were talking on a loudspeaker or whatever. One of those things. I don't know what the hell they're called. You talk into it and it makes your voice louder. That was pretty cool. Megaphone. Yeah, that was actually pretty cool. And then it was like they heard what was going on and they literally they jumped on like a golf cart and dipped straight to the place.
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, they weren't there. I can speak for, they weren't there when all this stuff went down. They were down the street.
Yeah.
Allegedly in a video game. So, but I thought you had that. For some reason, I thought I saw that video in, maybe I just reposted it. I thought I saw it.
The one I have of Owen Schroyer is regarding the government shutdown.
Okay, that's what it was.
Resolution.
Yeah, it made me think of him. So yeah, we'll move off of this one. That's pretty much the. I didn't want to bury the lead and not show that video. So we'll go ahead and move over to the Freedom Caucus. Loses basically Freedom Caucus loses to despicable Mike Johnson, right? And so I've been out there. I thanked my local congressman on X for not voting for the
CR.
The CR, yes, thank you. And people are starting to ask me why, and it's just like, okay, well, if you got to ask, I'm not going to tell you. But because they're trying to vilify a group of people that were that voted against the second one. You know what I mean? Because they're like, no, it's revised. It's only 116 pages. They cut out everything, and it's like, no, it's still not good enough. And I want the government to shut down at this point. Like, they can all, they can screw off with this thing. Even though they ended up sneaking it in the next day. But Owen Schroyer made a post following up the second one, right? I think that's when it was. This video was before they actually approved the third one.
The
Did they
later
still
one,
include the raise in the shortened version? I was wondering if that was still in there. I hadn't actually, like I said, today I was busy. I've been watching football.
no, the later one is like the 2-minute one that I have, I think. Yeah. If I can put it on screen here. That might be related. I haven't seen that one though. You could be right. The one that I saw is the 2-minute one where he's like, some people are saying this is my best rant yet.
Okay, let's see. What does that say beforehand? Why? When did he post that one? Is it on before December 20th?
On December 20th, yeah. December 20th, 9:40 p.m.
Okay.
Well, I guess this is from when this person posted it.
All right, so he posted this one first. So he posted this one actually on the 19th. I reposted it on the 20th. So we'll play this one first, and then I think in the interim they passed the third one potentially, and so then we'll play yours.
Word, okay.
Then we'll cover both of them.
Let me explain why this bill not passing tonight is a good thing. And I know a lot of people are upset.
And I will say, I was just happy that the second bill didn't go through, the second attempt, without really knowing much about it, just because I don't trust this group of leaders right now that we have. And so I felt like, you know what? No. But then I like to see that it was nice to see that some of the people that I like were in agreement. But sorry, let's go ahead and play this.
Trump endorsed the bill. We want the Republican Party behind Trump. But believe me, this bill failing tonight is a good thing for multiple reasons. And before you want to attack some of the Republicans in the House for not supporting this bill, for other things they've done, fair enough. Let's actually look at the bill and let's look at who voted against it. This bill, as far as the spending is concerned, was virtually the same bill that everybody was against just 24 hours ago. It's virtually the same bill. They got rid of the protection for the January 6th committee criminals. They got rid of the global pandemic tyranny. They got rid of the Global Engagement Center for Censorship and some of the other agenda items in there that were obviously bad. But as far as the spending is concerned, it's still a ridiculous bill. It's virtually the exact same bill, maybe even worse as far as the spending is concerned. So there's nothing conservative about this bill. Let's just understand that. And as far as the Republicans that voted against it, really, these are the only true Republicans that are conservative. There are barely any conservatives left in Congress. There are barely any conservatives left in the Republican Party. So if you're a true conservative, a fiscal conservative, then you shouldn't support this bill, like Thomas Massey refused to support this bill.
Our guy.
But let's put that aside and look at the larger political picture. This bill refusing tonight, the Republicans voting against it, shows that Mike Johnson can no longer be Speaker of the House. He's toast. The first bill was so bad, he couldn't even bring it to the floor. And now this bill was so bad, he couldn't even get the Republican Party to vote for it. So Mike Johnson is now officially toast as Speaker. That is a good thing. Now, here is what's going to happen next. My guess is the Republicans or Mike Johnson, somebody's going to say, let's bring one or
Donnie said $850K for a gay senior home is a wild ask. Yeah, next thing you know, they're going to need another $850K for all the monkeypox vaccines.
two, maybe three bills to the floor, one pagers, one for hurricane disaster relief, one for farm funding, and then there's maybe another item that they want to get out there. But those two items for the farmers and for disaster relief, and they'll say we want one-page bills, and we want a vote on each single spending bill.
Let's go.
Same money that would have been in there in the last bills, but we just want it single issue, single page, and let's just vote on that. Now, that's what should be happening. That's what we should actually want to be happening.
Yes.
But either that happens, which is a good thing, or they go through another process, and maybe it fails again, and then the government shuts down. That's a good thing. We should want the government shut down. And let's be perfectly clear about this. It's a total misnomer. The government is not going to shut down. It's like 17% of the government, 98% of the population, maybe 99, won't even see a difference in their life. There will be no difference in your life listening to this if the government shuts down. But if we really support Doge and we really support Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy talking about eliminating 75% of the federal government, then 17% being shut down, we should probably just give it a test run. So this is a total win-win. And if you go back and listen to what I said today, after the first bill didn't even make the floor, before the second bill even came out.
Just so you guys know, Owen Schroyer is taking a dump right now in the biggest marble bathroom ever. That's why the echo is so bad. I mean, for a guy that's in production, why did he film this in such an echoey room? Like, he could have gone anywhere. Oh no. Now I start paying attention to that type of stuff. Every time Ben Ferguson goes on Piers Morgan, he sounds like he's on a speakerphone, and it's like, bro, you have a radio show. What are you doing? Like, use a real mic.
He has audio guys for that.
For real. The crazy thing about that whole $850K for the senior home, for the gay senior home, when people, we used to not like. It's weird. It's like back to resegregation. We try to desegregate everything, and now it's like we want our own little like safe places. Segregate us in our little safe place. And so now, when somebody tells some gay dude, you can't come to this senior home, but we have one for you down the street, they're gonna bring a lawsuit, right? There's one for you down the street, though. It's like, wait a minute, this is discrimination. It's like, no, I'm just telling you the truth. There's a nice one for gay people down the street. Why don't you go there? This,
I'm not too opposed to it.
It's just so weird. It's such a weird thing. It's like they're asking for the things that, next thing you know, they're going to want racially divided water fountains again and things like that, It's just so stupid. Like, we got past this when we passed the Civil Rights Act before I was born.
I said this exact situation would happen and we would be here today. So I'm predicting tomorrow, either there will be single issue bills that get brought to the floor for a vote, or they will not be able to reach a continued resolution and the government will shut down, and that is a good thing. And there's one last thing the Republicans need to learn here. Don't point the finger at the Democrats when you go through this political process and say, they're shutting down the government. And then the Democrats point at you and say, you're shutting down the government. No, you're shutting down the government. Own it. Own it. When they point the finger and they say, you're shutting down the government, say, yeah, okay. We think the government's corrupt. We think the government's out of control. We kind of think the American people are sick of the government. Actually, it has a very low approval rating. So you know what? We are shutting down the government. We'll go ahead and take that. You guys are the ones that refused to do a single issue bill on disaster relief and money for the farmers. You refuse to do that, but shut down the government? We're proud of that. We'll own that. So let's see what happens tomorrow. But the Republicans need to stop this. Oh, you're shutting down the government, not me. Oh, no, it's on you. No, shut it down.
Yeah.
Are you serious about Doge or are you not? Are you actually conservatives or are you not? This was a total win. Don't worry about the Trump agenda. Don't worry about Trump endorsing this bill. Forget about that. That's not what this is about.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Johnson is done. We need real fiscal conservatism, and let's actually shut down the government and let's show people it's actually a good thing. You won't even notice. You might even be happier.
Yeah. Get on board with the mandate that Trump that the American people just dictated to Trump, right? Get on board or get primaried. But I saw Gary said he joined the Discord. Man, that's awesome. Thanks for doing that. Sorry it took you an act of Congress to get it done on your new phone, but I appreciate you going through the effort. And it's something that the rest of you guys should do. I know some of you guys on here have Discord and you're not in the server, so make sure you click the button and join over there. Let's see here.
Progress back to the segregated future.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
if I win dictator in 2028, man, things would be a lot different. That's for sure.
It's all a big circle. We just destined to repeat the past.
Yeah. Listen, dude, I'm somebody who I'm very anti a lot of stuff from MLK. You know, not to say Malcolm X was right, but I think that their ideas definitely had distinct differences. And I think that one of them was definitely a lot more genuine in his thoughts and would have probably developed better outcomes than where we are currently. That's a whole other thing to get into. But also MLK is a heretic and a communist. I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, this is the one. This is the recent one. This is from what's today, the 21st?
I saw Just Me just jumped in the chat. What's up, Just Me?
Hey, what's going on? We got a lot of people in here today.
Yeah. Yeah, it's good to see a lot of familiar faces.
Okay. Make sure the volume's okay. All right. Let it rip.
Fuck you! Shut it down! Shut it down now!
You can turn it up a little bit.
Greenhouse gases, climate change, sustainable development. $1 billion for the Ecuadorian Amazon. Where do you think that's going? You think that's going to the Amazon? You're an idiot. That's called money laundering, baby. That's called theft. That's called fuck you, American people. I'm stealing your money on the way out. Is that corrupt Brazilian president right there with him too? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You can't even get disaster relief for Americans after Hurricane Helene, and this Congress will hold them hostage so that you have to pass a bill that funds all the other agendas, the censorship, the global government, the medical tyranny, the protection of the DC criminals, all the other items, and they're holding American victims hostage. And then the White House goes out and says, oh, by the way, $1 billion for Ecuador. Fuck you. And I'm supposed to feel guilty because I want the government shut down? Give me a break. All these people screaming and hemming and hawing about, oh, we need to give the disaster relief money, so you have to pass whatever bill we give you, even if you haven't read it. Even if it says you have to offer us your firstborn son and your firstborn daughter, you got to pass it because of the hurricane victims. Give them the damn money you just gave to Ecuador. Fuck you. Shut it down. Shut it down now. 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 I'm done. I'm done. No more money for Ukraine. No more money for Israel. No more money for Ecuador. No more money for any of these countries. Shut it down.
That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, that just came up on the screen. I can't wait till she is out of this position. Oh my goodness, Corinne Jean-Pierre, total switch. But I mean, she's on the screen, so.
Well, I think one thing that kind of got left out here was the fact that with the second bill, they kind of, even Elon Musk kind of taking a photo of it and being like, look how small this bill is compared to what the first one was. And then you had people like the cult of what MAGA is. Like there are cult people in MAGA, dude. Laura Loomer, people who are on Laura Loomer's side of that exemplify all of that. And she's saying like, loyalty is black and white. You're either behind Trump or you're against him. And it's like, dude, the bill is still garbage. And, they are doing this kind of like stupid, shallow political fight. It'd be like, they highlighted, they're like, these are the 38 Republicans who voted against it. And it's people like Tim Burchett, Chip Roy, just name a few of them that were like, we're not voting for this because it's not any better. It's less pages, but it's still all the same bullshit. We're not going to let this fly. And then, you just see the Trump, like people who literally can only think in terms of like, did Trump say this is good or did Trump say this is bad? And then I'll agree with whatever he says there. And that's why I fully agree with Owen Schroyer. Owen Schroyer's actually, further made himself off to the right here, to where a lot of people are with Trump. And I think that's insane too. To have them put out like a hit list for all the people who like the majority of individuals would agree with, right? Have all that stuff still in there. And I think
like that's my list to thank.
Well, I think the only improvements they even made was like the stuff about like the RFK HHS like restrictions, and then like some of the J6 stuff. But outside of that, the majority of the bill like remained the same. It just like had a lot of extra fluff that got eliminated out of it.
Yeah.
And it, it just shows like we need a lot more critical thought. And I'm right there with Owen Schroyer. Like, shut the whole thing down. Like,
Yeah,
I
me
don't
too.
even care if it operates. Like, who wants the government to operate? Like, especially when all they do is like what we see. Here's $1 billion to Ecuador, and then what? And then we're going to see like tomorrow to be like Hunter Biden actually approved to be on the board of Ecuador Asset Management. It's
For
like,
real.
yeah, dude, this is exactly what it was meant to be in the first place. It's a joke.
Right. Right. Exactly. And then, as far as that list that you were talking about, they try to be like, oh, we're going to primary out 38 of these people. And it's like, well, it's not going to work for me. I'm still voting for my guy who's on that list. And you know who else is on that list? Thomas Massey. And that's the guy that I trust the most. And so if you're on the same list as Thomas Massey, as far as didn't vote for something, you have my support, because that dude, there's, not saying he can't do no wrong, but even if Donald Trump was approving of this second one that was still, shot down, we need to hold their feet to a not good enough standard, right? It's like, yeah, it's better, but we don't want better. We want the best, and that's what Trump prides himself on, is the best. And so shooting it down, and I wanted it to shut down. I wanted the government to shut down because I wanted to send the message that the people demand better, and not just better, we demand the best, right? And so,
right,
yeah, Trump might have tried to approve this emergency replacement CR or whatever, but no, that's not what we want. You know what I mean? And so that was the message that I was out there trying to spread. I did see that Jamie asked, I think this is it. Oh wait, wrong one. She said, I got to ask I got a question for Atlas. What are your thoughts on cleansing the house for bad juju?
I guess I don't really have any kind of explicit kind of opinion. Something I've heard of people do when they felt like things were bad about their house, whether they got like some kind of priest to, kind of toss some blessings around, whether it's, Catholic or an Orthodox priest to come around. I would feel though, if you have a really like strong intuition in your gut, that something's off in that house, or maybe you feel like something did actually occur that you think would require some extra amount, I would say it probably doesn't hurt. But yeah, I'm far from an expert on something like that. That'd be probably a better question to kind of search an answer from somebody like Jay Dyer, or maybe even possibly somebody like Michael Knowles is probably somebody who's probably covered a subject similar to that manner. But I am also sorry to hear that if you feel like it's something pretty strong like that. I apologize.
Yeah, that is a bummer. It's an uncomfortable feeling in your own home, potentially. I can tell you, I know a person that had an encounter with like an entity, I'd call it a demon. Literally caused the person, I won't get into the details, but the person literally left the house as fast as possible, which they were locked inside of their own house for a period of time, and left the house, abandoned the house, left everything in it, didn't go back. So not to say that that's like Jamie's situation, or anything like that. But that was some way worse than just maybe some bad juju. But I see some people suggesting burning sage, essential oils. Maybe you could even have your local pastor come and where they use the oil or whatever, something like that, to just ask for blessing. I mean, that type of thing. Pray out loud, invoke the name of Jesus. That's something that always seems to work the best.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, tag you on Discord with the names so you can look them up. Yeah, I can do that. Give me a second, I can do it right now.
No one suggested Ghostbusters. I know, Donnie. That's the obvious go-to, or at least just put on the movie. Let's see.
No, it's probably is like invoke the name of Jesus. Probably say a prayer. I would actually ask for a prayer for yourself and for the home. and anyone else who may be in there too. Could it also, if you don't live alone, it could also not just be that the home is having some entity, but maybe someone else who's there is dealing with something very specific. And this is a side point too. I actually want to say this. This would be a huge like kind of side tangent as well. Um, I do agree with what House just put in there too. One thing that I thought was a phenomenal sermon, and this is entirely going off on a tangent, I'll say that again.
That's fine.
That I heard from Joel Webbin, who is the lead pastor at Right Response Ministries. And I think he's good for the most part. I think he's like 95%. I agree with a lot of things that he says, and he's commonly called a Nazi for some of the positions he holds. But one thing in particular, one sermon that he had, talked about how people always kind of invoke the fact that, say like you'd made a bad choice, or you were feeling angry, or you were about to like do something along those lines. People kind of would say like, oh man, Satan was just working on me then. That's why I did that. Satan was doing this to me, man. Satan is not omnipresent, right? He doesn't have the same capacities as God. So he's not like at this same kind of equal, all-powerful being to what God is. And so, there also comes a point too where obviously there's Satan and there's demons here that kind of work onto people. But there's also the fact that like we as humans are fallen, like we are fallen people. So we're also just like simply of our own selves capable of like manifesting things that like maybe just like aren't even there, or capable of making bad choices without the devil having to like be there himself, like whispering. So when you think at it from that perspective, it's also like, it's kind of an easy toss up, and I think it kind of escapes a bit of culpability of like, oh, like, I if he wasn't working on me, like I would have not made that choice. And it's like, if you kind of think about it pragmatically, it's like the devil's like standing over Joe Biden and being like, yes, like send that money. Like if he was to do somewhere or be somewhere specifically, it'd probably be like at the White House, ensuring the destruction of all humanity and doing things that would have a lot more kind of bigger sense. And not to say that there's maybe not like an actual kind of like smaller, lesser powerful demon possibly in that building, but I did think it was a great point that's not really kind of covered that much. I think that people in most churches and most sermons kind of like let it go, and they kind of like give more power to Satan than what he actually has. And I think ultimately it's a bit kind of defeating when you think about why did I sin, or why did I make these choices, and kind of throwing it to the fact that like, something just came over you, rather than accepting like I actually did make these choices. And this is a side point, and it just made me think of that. Jamie, not to say that they're related, but it did make me think too. I thought that was like a great sermon, because it was kind of one that where I thought like, yeah, you're right. People always like, what's that famous saying? Like, get away from me, Satan. Like the people will say that stuff, but it's also because like, that they're kind of thinking it. But to say that too is kind of like giving me, or like it's giving him like that much power when he really doesn't have it. But I thought that was good. And that's just a piece of like, Joel Webbin. I think he covers a lot of really good things in terms of Christianity. I think he's really top dog in the pastor atmosphere.
Yeah, that was well said. Excuse me. Chris said demons are real and can harm us. Yeah. And same with angels. Well, they can't really harm us, but they're real too.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely real. Also, I'm going to tag you right now, Jimmy. Make sure I go in the right one. I'll actually just reply to this.
Yeah, while you do that, I'll go ahead and wanted to show you guys this. This is a post from Clint Russell. So the Massey/Roy-led Freedom Caucus used their 30-plus member minority to stop two awful CRs. Got Speaker Johnson to agree to standalone bills. Then at the 23rd hour, Johnson betrayed all of them and got a bill passed using unanimous support from the Democrats. Johnson needs to go. That's from Clint Russell. And see, that's the type of nonsense that we need to get out of here. That's the swamp at work, right? When you go across the aisle and use people that would never step across the aisle for you. You know what I mean? It's like if the Democrats are going to vote for this, it's something that the Republicans don't want. You know what I mean? That's a dead giveaway. And so going against your own party is pretty scummy. And that's basically what Thomas Massey warned us about. A few months ago. We played it in the last show. where he said that Speaker Johnson is going to bring this CR right before Christmas, and they're going to say, look, you either get to spend Christmas here in DC or you get to spend it at home with your families, but you have to vote yes on this for you to go home. And ultimately they got something through, which, you know, I think that's pretty scummy. You know what I mean? It's pretty messed up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this is like, it's the same story with like Kevin McCarthy. If
Yeah.
it's not that the fact that like they have some kind of blackmail on him, it's that he signed up for some IOUs to maintain his speaker position, and without coming through on some of these negotiations, why he's going to bat so hard for things like that we don't need, just straight government corruption all around. But again, you know, I would be genuinely surprised if we were to ever get a speaker that wouldn't be playing ball for both sides, or for the uniparty, or for the deep state, or for any other kind of entity that is controlling our government.
Yeah. Off the subject, a Catholic guy asked you who is in the fist fight on your thumbnail.
It's yeah, I wanted to get to that because I felt like we'd be I'd be a bit clickbaity if we didn't cover that.
Yeah, definitely.
This is like the MFest drama, so we can actually exchange course here. So it's Bryson Gray and Misfit Patriot. Misfit Patriot, who I don't really know anything about. I actually ratioed him on X last night, because he just started crashing out really hard. But I can actually
on Bryson.
Yeah. So as
That's
far
funny.
as
I was just talking to my wife about her, and it's weird how the dude is like turned against his own following essentially, or whatever. He's just way too like straight line hardcore, and it's just like become unlikable, kind of, in my opinion. I used to love listening to the guy's music and stuff, but a little lately.
Well, I like that part about Bryson Gray. We'd probably disagree about that. I agree with him on a lot of things too, specifically in regards to that. And I think it's needed, it's necessary. And I think what you're talking about specifically is like when it comes to like the Christian aspect of things.
Yeah.
And I think he does it from a good place, because I think again, a lot of stuff that I talk about is the fact that there are a lot of people who have a lot of misconceptions. Believing in things that just aren't real, or because this kind of subverted Protestantism is going to lead people to hell. So whether a lot of people like think it's like it's rough or too hard, I can see that. But I think it's necessary to combat a lot of views that people have. But he also holds the spaces too, to encourages people to come up and like talk to him, and why he feels that way. He hosts them all the time. But
yeah. But before you press play, I just want to say here, since we're talking about Johnson still, just me said that's it. Johnson's on my shit list now. I saw what TNT said. So Johnson ended up fucking us. Damn. Trump needs to take Johnson to UFC and toss him in the crowd. Yeah, man. Just before we play this, sorry, just to go back so we could wrap this up. My take is it's really sad that we've lost Matt Gaetz in this whole mix. He teased last night from America Fest that he might still show up to vote on January 3rd or something like that, because he was essentially elected into the next Congress. But his future is he's going to start a TV show on OAN. So we don't have him out there, the guys with the cojones to step up like he did when it came to removing Speaker McCarthy. And so, you know, Johnson might be the guy. He might be the speaker again. So it's unfortunate. But go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted to put a button on that.
So no, you're good. So this is there were two incidents, and people probably saw my thumbnail. So Milo Yiannopoulos and Laura Loomer got into it, although theirs was like a verbal altercation that's a bit longer. Bryson Gray and Misfit Patriot got into an actual physical altercation. And it was because Bryson Gray he called one of Misfit's friends, who's gay. He called him an abomination, and that like sent Misfit over the edge. And Bryson Gray was essentially just calling him out and saying like, hey, like you're homosexual. Like that's not, we don't need that. And rebuking him really is probably the best word for that too. This sent Misfit Patriot like over the edge. And so Lucky here is the MAGA Hulk. And so, he's pretty spot on with a lot of things that he says. One of the smaller accounts that I follow. He says that Misfit Patriot reportedly sucker punched Bryson for referring to his friend as an abomination. Bryson then threatened to press charges unless Misfit agreed to meet up with him and fight to settle it. And here's footage from that fight. So it's only like it's less than a minute long. This is what got recorded from that incident. It's kind of funny because it's pretty like clumsy, and they both stumble around. I'll make sure the volume's up too.
Don't go straight back. You got to work to the side. Work to the side. You got to work to the side. Sidestep, sidestep. Not backwards, not backwards. Sidestep, sidestep. Work on that footwork. Oh, you got the trip. Oh, try to pull guard. Oh. And he drops the right hand. He hasn't been full mount. He's going for the ankle.
Oh, my ball! Hey, hold on.
Oh, he kicked him in the balls. He kicked him in the balls. That's the end of the fight. Everybody knows you don't go for the balls. God.
Yeah, so that's really like the main thing, right? So Bryson like
That was my
runs
first
off,
ever
like,
attempt at being Joe Rogan, by the way.
yeah, no, commentating over it. Yeah. I actually watched it over because I couldn't see that he got kicked in the nuts like that, and then I saw it like I watched another small play. It's like right there towards the end there.
The way he like fell backwards and put his knee up, didn't he?
Yeah, like right there. You see that kick to the back of him too. Like, oh, dude, like you see Bryce like almost jumps off the ground because he got hit in the nuts like that.
That's where you go like an anime and you go like all crazy face and you just jump up in the air and drop a knee straight down and finish it.
Yeah. No, and well, I think too, with an incident like this between like two right wingers at like a popular festival, there's a lot of times agreements are said and without any kind of like words actually spoken. I'm not going to fault Misfit Patriot for kicking him in the nuts. I think when you get into an altercation like that, it's you or me. It's like really there's no honor in having things. It's the reason why samurais don't exist anymore. They fought with honor, and that's why they like literally were wiped out. They don't exist at all, period. But it is a street fight like that, and I just wanted to highlight it too because this kind of coincides with the fact that we're seeing like such a rise in all political violence. I mean, not just from like actual things that end up in homicides between like right versus left, but like right on right is like happening a lot more now.
Yeah.
This has been something that I've been pretty vocal about on my channel from like since its inception, which is like this is bound to happen. There are huge kind of like golden calves that exist in the right wing that like the new right or dissident right, or if you're James Lindsay, you call them the woke right, have been like knocking on the door for quite some time, and they've been gaining ground. It's the same group who's pretty hard on like the 19th Amendment. It went from like a joke to like now there's kind of like a growing base for it. But really the main key there is like instead of just being fiscally conservative, actually being Christian conservative and moving to things that are a lot more aligned with those positions and principles. And this is another one of those instances where my response to the Misfit Patriot, because he was crashing out on X, was, I wish that conservatives would protect Christian values as much as they would protect homosexuals. And that's kind of like the vibe I get from this, right? Like that's what he was willing to throw hands over was another right winger saying to a homosexual, as much as he might be your friend, but calling him out for the way that he's living. In my opinion, if it's reports and allegations are true, you're the one who sucker punched them. You escalated that because you were in defense of someone saying a mean word to your gay friend. And I think that is like encapsulates what the right wing has become under this kind of big tent stuff. Now, obviously, there's no, they're trying to settle it like Bryson said. He's going to sue you unless like I'm going to sue you unless you like fight me like in a ring or something. So Bryson's like giving him a chance to like turn this into like a spectacle. Maybe they make money off of it. Who knows? But I think the overall thing here is like we're going to see some pretty intense infighting on the right wing. It's long been overdue. And I think from all the things that I said earlier and more, specifically stuff that obviously YouTube can't stand or would derank you for, these things are going to become like major linchpins moving into 2028. And I think it could be a solid reason why you see that there may not be a lot of support moving forward for whoever the Republican candidate may be, dependent upon where we move with Christian values. And I will agree, coming into this year, I wasn't behind Trump at all. Especially even from when he announced like in 2022, You know, I just can't stand the way he was kind of super lax on a lot of the stuff, specifically things like abortion, and a lot of the subversion that's happened in terms of sexuality and how public that stuff is. Ultimately, I kind of fell to the pragmatic stance of like, well, pragmatically, the better governance will be the fact that Trump gets in there. If we allow Kamala to win, there's no way. And then, let alone, I would never vote for a female president. I think that again is very, very anti-Christian in and of itself. It's anti-patriarchal. And I also just disagree with the fact that the person in charge of the army should be a female. I think that's most people can sit and agree on a common sense view. That would not be the right thing to do, even from like a natural intuition kind of sense. But the Milo Yiannopoulos and Laurel Loomer thing's a bit more esoteric. They're like arguing against each other. They're two kind of like just rough accounts to follow in the first place. Milo says a lot of like decent things. I think he's had a lot of good things to say since he's come.
Laura comes across my feed a lot.
Yeah. Well, I think he's an accountant that gets boosted, and I think a lot of it's because people engage with him because they don't like his past. A lot of his points are he's pretty brazen.
No, Laura, I don't see his very often, but I see hers all the time.
Yeah, well, she's massive on X. She might have multi-million followers, I believe, on X. I could be wrong about that, but she's built herself a huge following. But she's the one who comes from that angle, like with putting out the list of the 38 Republicans, right? A lot of her stuff comes off so like desperate. It's got like a groupie breath, right? She just wants Trump to like recognize her so bad. That's how some of it feels. And like same thing with the loyalty, right? It doesn't matter what the people may want, but you voted against something that Trump said that he wanted, and so now you must be excised from the Republican Party. And it's like that's such a violation of like having the free thought. And I enjoy the fact that the conservative movement constantly engages in debate and discussion with each other because we're trying to have a free marketplace of ideas. We don't want to be like the left, right?
We don't want to be in an echo chamber.
Right. Yeah. Or having like one lead pariah where it's like, well, if you go against this guy, it's like you're out of the party. We don't consider your opinions, get deboosted, get, social media campaign ran against you, so on and so forth. But this one I just thought was a pretty funny because it's just drama at AmFest. And obviously there's a lot of people saying like, this is why I didn't go. Like people are just
I'm wishing I was there, man. I almost last minute went. I found a place where I could actually stay for like 120 a night or something like that, and was like, all right, so round trip 500, 120 a night for 7 or 6 nights. Like I was crunching the numbers, and I probably would have pulled the trigger if I wouldn't have been flying home on early Christmas Eve. If this was in like July, it would have been done and done. I would have went, but unfortunately not this time. Next year.
Well, I wanted that you said that because this coming Monday, the next show, you won't be here, right?
I won't be able to. We're actually going to go to like a dinner theater. It's like a live theater thing of Christmas Story. So I love Christmas movies. I love Christmas stories. So this should be good. My in-laws are coming into town. We're all 4 of us are going. So I won't be here, and I won't even be able to watch in support because my cell phone will be packed away during the same time frame. I might be able to actually be here for like the very beginning, but the signal inside of the place isn't very good. But I think the show starts like at 7-ish there, so I won't be able to do a whole lot. But yeah, I won't be here. But you're gonna still do the show?
Yeah, I'll be hosting it on my end through OBS, so it'll look a little bit different. But
and it'll be on Atlas's channel. He'll post the links in the Discord. So make sure you're either subscribed to Atlas's YouTube, or you're following him on X, or you're in the Discord, but preferably all 3.
Yeah, right. No, exactly. And I'll put a reminder to remind myself to let people know and remind them. Chris said, "Do you want to fill in?" You can, Chris. I can probably either host you through Discord or I can go through VOD Ninja if you wanted to jump on as well. But yeah, I've said this before a bunch of times. I will never say anything on here that would risk Worrell's channel because I know Worrell's done a lot of work to build stuff up. But when it comes to my channel, I'm going to be a lot more free reign. I think anybody who's followed me over there knows that. Yeah, it's gonna get extra wild if Worrell is gone. That's funny. Yeah, like on my show, anything goes. I already have a couple. I think I have 1 or 2 strikes and a few warnings on my channel. So it's on the verge of if anything kind of were to happen, it's gone anyways. But regardless, I'll be as free as possible, and we can talk about a lot of things. Probably be a bit more directed towards what I'm interested in, rather than be like a co-joint thing. But it'll still be a jar openers episode, so I will try to remind myself to do that.
Yeah, cool. I was gonna say, Chris, I would like to start having you on more regular too. So we'll talk about that in Discord. I almost asked you this afternoon if you wanted to join us, but I didn't even have time to I haven't even had time to really sit down or do anything here. I've been just busy all day, so I just didn't. But I was thinking about having you come on and join us tonight for this. But in the future, keep that in mind. Maybe we'll start having you on once a week or just something like that. I don't know. We'll talk about it.
Yes,
but the last time,
yeah.
but the last time you were on, Chris, was great. So I mean, been meaning to have you back. And Chris has his own channel. By the way, you guys, it's Chris Stockham, spelled just like the way you see it in chat. We'll put it here on the screen if you're watching on Atlas's channel. He goes live pretty much daily, and
sometimes twice a day.
Yeah. But yeah, I always try to come in and I never go on, but I always try to participate in chat, put you guys on whenever I'm cooking around the house or doing whatever it is that's not work related. So I wanted to say, Gary Maynard asked a bit ago, off subject, but has anyone heard about the water being tainted all over the state of New Jersey? I hadn't heard about that, but you followed it up by saying that Cinema Shogun put out a good video. And you know what's crazy is that Cinema Shogun actually has a good channel. It's really low production. But I like that guy's channel. That's funny. I haven't heard anybody else actually refer to him, but that's actually somebody that he's in my rotation of guys that I watch.
Yeah. No, well, there's also an earlier comment too, and I wanted to highlight that from Donnie, which he said, I fought people for giving my brother shit about being gay.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the way that I look at it now, and, I'll say it 100 times. I've definitely gotten a lot more radical in this last couple of years. The way when I look at it from the perspective of, let's say it was my brother, and Donnie knows that I have a brother that's in prison, and I won't go into detail with that, but things to struggle with there too. When I think about it, it comes from the perspective of like, do I want my brother to join me in the afterlife, right? Do I want my brother to be in heaven with me? And the answer to that is unequivocally yes. And I think especially when you are the brother, there comes an extra burden of responsibility, more so than the average person, to help ensure that happens. You definitely have a bit more of a responsibility to your family and kin than you do a random stranger you just met. And so, not to put you on blast or on a spot or anything there, but just to really say, like, I think the main thing there is, like, obviously, like, if someone was to like attack him or fight him, there's definitely, you defend that. But when it comes to defending his way of life, I think is an entirely different discussion. And I think when you look at it long term, it's like, do I want to have to see him through the lens of him burning in eternal damnation, or do I want him to be with me in the glory of Jesus Christ? And I think, it's a very hard and harsh way to kind of view things, especially for people who do have individuals who struggle with different forms of sin. But I think the one that the sin that's continual and habitual, that becomes very unrepentant, or if you view it in a specific way, there is a clock, right? And everyone, all of our lives are perishable. We don't live forever. And you never know when that moment may come, when your time is called. And so I think there's a certain kind of burden there that's like, you want to make sure that you crossed all your dots. You crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's, and you did as much as you could to kind of speak to that. And especially for other kind of lifestyles too. This isn't just homosexuality. This goes for a lot of different things as well. Whether it's fathers, mothers, daughters, sons, uncles, grandma, grandpa, I got a light, I'm going to let it shine. And I think that is everyone's responsibility. I kind of think of Peter, right? Lord, I would never deny you. And then literally within hours, he's like, oh, I never knew that guy. That Jesus guy, that's crazy, dude. I never seen that guy before. And that was one of the closest people to him. And, I don't want to have, the scariest thing you could have is, making it up there and him Jesus looking right at you and saying, I never knew you. And I think about that all the time, especially a lot more here recently too. The
Yeah.
older I get, more mature I get, and then obviously the more I'm in the Bible. But I'm no pastor by any means, so definitely I can only speak to it from a political kind of lens. But I think not to get too personal with that, but I think it's an important thing to say while it's on my mind.
Right. Well, it's, to Chris's point, he said, I say this all the time. If I truly love you, I will talk to you about your lifestyle. I won't force it on you, but I have to try. Right. And it's also kind of like to what you're just saying. I have a brother. I don't know how much I want to say about this. I think I mentioned it before. I have a brother that thinks he's my sister. So, yeah, whenever I try to talk to him, it's one of those things where I feel like I can be real. And unfortunately, to kind of what Chris is saying, unfortunately, the political landscape has gotten him to the point where he thinks if I talk to him about anything, then I'm the ist or phobe or whatever. When really I'm just the dumb jock asking you the questions, and I'm not trying to tell you this or that. And it's gotten to the point where, unfortunately, we don't talk very often, but the person is scared of me, apparently. And it's due to my Christianity and my love for the country. And so, it's one of those things. And it's like, there's things that you can say to your brothers and sisters that you would beat other people up for saying to your brothers and sisters, right? It's the same thing with our country. It's like, I can make fun of my president, but you people over there in Britain, don't be talking shit on my president. Well, actually, if it's Biden, you can, but you know what I'm saying? It's like one of those things. Like, I have skin in the game. It's my personal relationship, and I'm invested in it or whatever. So that I can critique it, but you can't. And I don't know. It's one of those things. Like just what Chris said there kind of made me think. Let's see here.
No, well, I just want to say, I imagine that's rough. I didn't know that until just now. You might have alluded to it before, and I didn't catch it. But I think it's a rough situation for anybody to be in. I think similar to also what Donnie had said too. But that's why I said it's like, it's gonna be better coming from you guys than it would have like I just walked up and said something to the guy too. And if and I think the ultimate point there though too is the fact that like we don't save. Like I can't save, your pastor can't save, the pastor's pastor can't save, Jesus saves. And I think most people, when they understand and they hear stories of, when somebody came to Christ, it was like they were at a gas station and had some crazy experience, or they were in the woods and some crazy thing happened. It's rarely that, because they were sitting in church and all of a sudden they were like, oh yeah, I do believe, right? It's like it usually comes like from outside, out of bounds. And the church is great for its purposes. But I think that all we can really do as people is always try to kind of like continually nudge them in the right direction. And obviously I think different circumstances call for like different level of rebuke, depends on like what was done or what's happening. But I think in those terms of like the ways of life, it's like trying to be that continual kind of nudge, like in the right direction as much as you can.
Yeah. So moving forward, I'm seeing some chat here. If TNT said if Milo and Laura fought, I think Milo by a hair. He followed it up and said, but Laura has that Jewish nose. It might be unbreakable. Well, apparently, according to Milo, she had surgery on her nose to make it look more like that. So, I don't know if you guys saw it. I did highlight it in a video of mine about a month ago, earlier this month. I think it might have been at the end of last month, where Milo went in pretty hard on Laura Loomer. I mean, he said that she was basically trying to fake being Jewish, and she went and she drew a Star of David on one of her folders, but she didn't know what the Star of David was. So she actually had drawn a pentagram, and she was about to carry this folder out to do a speech with a pentagram on her folder, and he had to like sit her down and draw the difference between the two for her to explain it to her, and she still couldn't get it. This is according to Milo's story, right? And so yeah, he went pretty hard on her. So I'm looking forward to this. They went face to face apparently. I didn't know any of this, so this is all news to me. I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah, no. So it's pretty long. We might not need to watch the whole thing. And this is the longer version of what I even saw earlier too. But it's essentially Laura calling Milo a drug addict, and then Milo calling her exactly everything what World just said. So it's a good watch.
You're a liar, Milo. You literally saw that dinner with Nick and tried to set him up. Okay, so don't try to sit here and try to sleep. Okay, because you're a fucking drug addict. Okay, you are a fucking loser, Milo. You're a fucking drug addict. You're playing my heart and feeling.
Guys have so much IQ. For years, 3 years. You guys have so much IQ. You guys can join forces and take over the world.
You have fallen country, okay? And you know, Milo, don't talk shit about me online and then run and hide in the corner.
Everything I've said about you, I'm happy to say your place, but I'm not interested in what you live, which is movement.
What is that?
It is beneath my dignity.
You guys are best friends.
It is beneath my dignity.
Okay, you don't have any fucking dignity. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're a liar, okay? And you want to talk about how I was not talking. Hey, fair enough.
That was what got me here my last weekend. You're unstable. You are bad for yourself.
Good night, Jamie. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the Discord.
If you cared about yourself and others, you would check yourself in somewhere. You would check yourself in somewhere. You need to check yourself in. You need to check yourself in. You need medication. Oh, you do. Honey, I've seen your bedside cabinet. And we all know you on drugs, okay? You're on every fucking antipsychotic. They got a name for
If you and I were to see the podcast right now, I would have flying colors and you would probably have cocaine and methamphetamine in your system. You're going to die from a fentanyl overdose, okay? That's what's going to happen to you. Because you're such a miserable piece of shit, and your sorrows are going to bring you to the grave.
It could be staged, Chris,
That's what's going to happen.
But in the meantime, I win. Goodbye.
or at least blown out of proportion.
These guys are.
That means, yeah, you should. Ask him the shoes. You might not like those on.
How about you?
You should really consider very carefully.
All you want to do is talk, get online, and then you want to.
But
then you want
the
to.
movement.
Then you're not going to do anything.
You have
Right, so I can feel lost like drug addicts like you, my
you are in a situation now where you can only hurt and you can't help it because you are.
Like you?
Because you are.
Like you, Milo? Like you? Like you?
I guess you learn from the best.
Pretending not to be gay so that you can stay in this country. You're not even here legally.
From the woman who can't draw star David, you want to talk about pretending?
You're not even here legally, Milo. What are you gonna do, Milo?
Why don't we make? I'm the moderator.
So I'm just curious. Oh, you're muted.
I was just gonna say that's it. That's just like it's just another 4 minutes of all of that.
Yeah.
Like just
Yeah.
over and over and over again.
That's funny. I'm just curious. Has anybody ever seen Joe Burrow and Milo Yiannopoulos in the same place?
I've seen that, especially with Joe Burrow's the bleach blonde hair that he did.
He said Milo even brought it up. He was like, so I'm trying to change my look because this guy Joe Burrow.
Yeah, this guy stole my look. I gotta change it now.
Stole my look. Oh, that's funny stuff.
It's true though. You
All
know,
right,
I lost a little bit of respect for Bro when he did that. You know, just
Yeah.
a little bit.
Just me, I agree. That cowboy hat doesn't suit him at all. A little broke backish. I guess maybe that's the look he was going for.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. TNT, you're cracking me up there.
Yeah, it's I just feel bad because it feels like Milo's in this constant struggle with being this homo kind of freak show and then being like an actual Christian.
Right.
It just feels really unfortunate. He can speak a lot of really good truth to things like about the foundations and in Christianity in general, especially geopolitically.
Yeah.
But then he
He's
behaves
got
like
that
this all the
silver
time,
tongue. Yeah.
and then he has his husband with him, and it's like
It's weird. Is that
bad.
really his husband? I thought that he's been like abstinent and like trying to not be gay for so long and everything like that, or is that just maybe the perception he's sending out? I don't know. It's just
Yeah, I have
weird.
no idea.
Huh.
No idea. I know that he's like I don't know if they actually got married or not. I've never like looked into the personal background of Milo, but I did see some rumors circulating from this video that like they're still like together, like they're
Huh.
still like around each other. So no idea.
To just interesting. Yeah, you gotta definitely be careful around both of these two. She's in. I think she's in a lot of stuff for the clicks, for the fame of it.
No, yeah, 100%, dude.
And he's just being a super troll at the same time. Like he said, like he made a joke about being paid to put out the fires, being paid by the same people, or how did he word it? He starts these fires revolving around these people, and then the same people pay him to put out the fires or whatever. And it's like, must be nice to make that much and whatever, but
Yeah, right.
yeah, Chris, she's a clout chaser. Six Bomber says he says he's ex-gay, but I don't know about that one. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder if it's just his image that the perception he's trying to put out there. It is what it is, I guess. It's so weird, though. I mean, he's so eloquent when he came to showing how the founders of the country solely intended on it being a Christian nation, but yet, I don't know. He's just so weird. He's a unique character.
We are. It's like the what do they call that? It's like the dilemma of being like as smart as he is, and people would be like, "Oh, this guy's dumb." He's a pretty intelligent person. He's just extremely flamboyant, and I think that's why he knows what's right, but he just like he can't live up to it, and so like he like is that kind of dilemma, which is why he makes ultimately like his entire like being such a useful kind of political asset, which he is. Why like he's like I think House alluded to it. They're living at one of MTG's houses. I think he's still on the payroll for Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then with those allegations of what you said with what he had known about Laura Loomer, it's also known that he was like paid by groups of people to disrupt other people because he was just so good at digging up dirt and kind of like getting people to seem politically unfeasible. I think specifically it was somebody had paid him, which I don't think he's ever disclosed, to be the reason why Laura Loomer isn't close on Trump's team. As much as she may speak about Trump being like the great thing and always being like in her or in his hand, or what do you call that? Like in his wing of things. She's ultimately like not gotten close to Trump. I think there's like something about like she even like made up a rumor herself that like they had sexual relations. There's like all these things with her that's like she is just like obsessed.
Well, Milo claimed that she told her friends that she performed on Trump, and I think she adamantly denies it. And I don't think Trump would have done that either. But
yeah, well, which would speak to the fact of why she'd have to make it up, because if it didn't actually happen, I really don't know what to think.
Right.
But I think these are two of like, if you were to ask me, it's like I'll take Milo over Laura, like just because I think like he speaks a bit more to like the Christian conservative stuff than Laura Loomer does. But they're both like they're rough, right? It's like they're all rough all the way around the edges. It's like it's hard to you can't really be a fan of either one without in a few hours being like, there's no way this person just said that, so.
Yeah,
But
see,
again, speaks to conservatism as a whole right now.
I'm Joe said, talking about an asset. Let me tell you about my sister-in-law. I'm curious if he's going to follow up with that, what he kind of means. But I don't believe I've seen I'm Joe in the chat before. So welcome.
or don't.
Yeah, or maybe no. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know what you're risking, Joe.
That's funny. Let's see here.
Oh yeah, Tick says Milo's very similar to the saying of separate the art from the artist. You can say factual and or profound things and still be batshit crazy. No, that's pretty spot on to say that.
Yeah.
Like if you never had to look at Milo or like know about any of his other stuff and you just heard him like on podcasts, well, he's still kind of rough to listen to the way he talks. He's like such a theater kid, actor, like wannabe kind of person. But he can still have like pretty bright moments.
Yeah. I mean, he's entertaining. He's fun to watch. I don't know if it's like combination of a train wreck and a magic show, or I don't know what you'd call it, but it's still something unique, right?
Yeah.
Let's see here.
So yeah, one of a kind.
Who was it? TNT saw me eating my Christmas cookies. Yeah, if my wife will bring one in here, if she's watching, I'll show you one of my snowmen that I decorated. I've become an expert at decorating the snowmen, by the way.
Gonna see you in a baking show here soon.
I'm gonna be on something with Gordon Ramsay. I can chop up an onion and I can decorate cookies really good.
That's funny. I'm actually I'm awful in the kitchen.
Yeah, I've actually gotten pretty good since I started doing this stuff. But here's one of my snowmen. Look at that. It's actually, see those 3 little cherries? Those are little candies. Yeah.
I thought it was like a mistletoe thing at first.
Yeah, I did that. So look how thick that is. Some buttercream icing. It is fire. It's a bomb.
I'm too impatient for that.
Yeah, it takes me like 15 minutes to.
It is mistletoe. It's not cherries.
Oh, it is mistletoe. I don't know. Okay, so I just got corrected. It's mistletoe.
Okay.
But they look like 3 little cherries or something, whatever. They're candies.
It's festive decoration. It falls under the category.
That's funny. So I'm glad you guys appreciate that. Okay, cool. Woman, the man needs a cookie, please. So shit, she's a keeper. Yeah. We're a good team. Poison Oak. That's funny stuff.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Should we get into anything else? It's already 8:20. So much to cover. Like you started off the show saying, there's so much that happens that.
I know. Well, if there was anything, it would just be this one video from Wade Stotts. It's only like 3 minutes long.
Okay.
And this is actually an entirely different direction. But I'm not sure if anybody watches Yellowstone in here. I never did. I'm unfamiliar with it entirely. I just knew it was like a show that conservative people liked. Apparently the ending of it was that like they sold their land to like Native Americans and had like this just super woke like ending to it. But I guess there's like other scenes in it too that kind of like it's got very woke principles in it, but it's like deemed as like a show that conservative people like. And again, I'm no expert on it, never seen it. I've only seen stuff from X that's been posted about it. But after knowing a bit more about it, I thought it was pretty funny. Now, Wade Stotts is someone I'm not that familiar with, but I've seen a couple of things from his work, and it's really good. This video I thought was hilarious. because I think that there's a lot of shows and media that they kind of trick conservatives into liking, and then insert very subversive kind of ideals into it. So it's only 3 minutes long, and you'll understand what he's talking about as soon as it starts.
Okay.
Hi. If the series finale of Yellowstone has taught us anything, it's that conservatives will believe anything you say as long as you have a few key elements. Stuff like cowboy hats, earnest talking.
My ancestors came here, land sold for $1.25 an acre, and that's the price I offer you.
Folksy accents.
Men cannot truly own wild land.
Pictures of graves, a cross, and drone shots of Montana. And if that's what it takes to get conservatives on board, I'm willing to give it a try. So here are some things that I think conservatives should believe in a style that might get through to them. Enjoy.
Now, I'm a simple man. I don't know much. But there's a few things I reckon I do know. I know how to drive a stick shift. I know how good it feels to wake up early for an honest day's work. And I know that Martin Luther King was a communist, and LBJ's Civil Rights Act did way more damage than Obamacare could ever dream of. Thomas Sowell believes that, so you can too. I know that McCarthyism was good. If anything, it didn't go far enough. I know that America ain't an idea. Pancakes for breakfast is an idea. A mighty fine one, if you ask me. I know that there's no such thing as a marketplace of ideas. It's not like some Saturday farmer's market where you can pick up some fresh picked fruit or homemade soap. Most people just believe what they're told. Oh, I don't mean you, of course. You're an independent thinker. Ain't that right? I know that freedom ain't for everybody. It's possible for a nation to degenerate to the point that they give up their freedom. Whatever comes next is what they at some level deserve. Edmund Burke said that, but so did I, in this accent. Now I realize this is getting a mite heavy, so here's a video of a dog. Who's a good boy? You are. And so was Richard Nixon. Deep State took him out back when everybody still believed the media, so a lot of people think he's a crook. But independent thinkers like you and me, we know different. I also know there's no such thing as a religiously neutral state, or a politically neutral religion for that matter. I know that homosexuality is gross, and it ain't the way God intended things. I know that politics ain't about winning a debate. It's about beating the bad guys, making a place where the good guys can live a normal life. And finally, I know that public schools are trying to make your kids trans, but they'll settle for making them annoying. Like I said, I don't know much, but even simple people like us could make a difference. Pickup trucks.
I thought that was brilliant. I thought that was a great kind of take. Very, satirical, obviously, but playing on the fact that, like, the run-of-the-mill conservative is pretty easily duped. When you put things like cowboy hats, dogs, pickup trucks, and in the countryside, you can make a whole lot of things up. So I thought
You forgot fireworks.
Yeah, fireworks. Yeah. So shout out to this guy. His name's Wade Stotts. I've actually recently come across him too. Seems like a pretty good follow. He's on X. He probably has a YouTube channel too, I'd imagine. I think he works with Canon Press.
And John Shepard said Paramount Plus is unfortunately super woke. Bro, tell me about it. You can't go on there without the first thing it suggests to me being to watch. You know what I mean? It always puts up the thing. It's always Drag Race with RuPaul. It's like I've never watched that once. Like I've never even clicked info on it. Like, why does it at the top of my suggested? Like, get an algorithm or something. Like I watch King of Queens and everybody loves Raymond and Survivor. Like, what makes you think that? I guess maybe because I watch Big Brother. You think I want to watch Drag Queen? What was it called? It's not Drag Queen Story Time. It's Drag Race or whatever the hell it's called.
You're the expert apparently, so you got to tell me.
It's always on there. I try to forget it. It's so forgettable. But yeah, they're super woke, super freaking woke.
What's the same on Hulu too? I downloaded Hulu because I think what was it? I wanted to watch the Predator movies because I think my wife hadn't seen them, and they had the prequel they added onto there too. I'd never watch the prequel, and every single advertisement when it like because even if you pay for it, there's ads on it. Every single one is talking about how you need to get HIV tested for homosexual relationships, and it's like 4 different variants of like different medication you can take. And the whole commercial is like 2 like 50-year-old men like laying on each other's chests and being like and like looking up at each other. It's just like it's wild.
Possessed Pappy said, "Are you guys suppressing something?" Maybe.
Yes.
Certainly not.
There's a
Certainly.
lot of thoughts to remain on this platform.
Happily married to a woman for 20 years, actually. But any commercial specifically aimed at illegal immigrants. John followed it up. TNT said maybe I'll have to figure out this Discord thing. Yeah, man. It's just another way we could chat in the community. They play movies over on Chris's. And ours is just kind of growing. It's got about 20 people in there so far, something like that. But it's been good so far. Trying to think. Jamie's in there. Yeti's in there. Chris is in there. Gary just joined tonight. Donnie's there. Just me is in there. Cora's there. I haven't seen her talk for a little bit, but she's active in Chris's. And some other folks that I'd never see comment on the channel, but came into the Discord because of the show. So they don't comment in the comments during the lives. But
some silent watchers.
Yeah. I remember. I like the frogs. That was really funny though. A minute ago when TNT said, like I'm gonna say it. Chris said, "I'm just an asshole," and TNT said, "Assholes are awesome," and they said, "Forget I said that."
Somebody's suppressing something. Who knows?
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, Cora hasn't been here since she was gifted a sub. She probably doesn't even know. She actually goes live with Chris whenever Chris goes live sometimes. Just me's cooking
last
dinner.
time I saw her, she was like in the kitchen, like cooking something up or chopping some vegetables while she was on live. It's pretty funny.
Donnie said he left the Discord. Well, shame on you, Donnie.
Yeah, Donnie got scared that we had gotten infiltrated.
Did he really leave?
Yeah. No, he got a particular person that joined that kind of gave him alarm bells.
Yeah, I know you're talking about. They were commenting during the show, but I haven't seen them on the show, so I don't know what that person's motives are yet, and he knows that.
Yeah, tell Donnie to make an alt and be even more anonymous.
Yeah. Spell your name backwards like John Shepard did.
Yeah. Curb Yond.
Right here. I was like, who's Naj Drappins? Oh, I see that. I see it. It's backwards.
Donald had the duck, but it's
Angry Yeti said he's about to cook himself some chicken breast. We actually we threw a couple pork loins in the crock pot. We're gonna make pork burritos. I'm looking forward to those, by the way. I think hopefully that's what wifey's working on right now.
Just be yourself, woman. You better be in there.
You in there cooking? I better have me some pork burritos whenever we're done on this stream. She made some last week and they're super fire. Just trying to bridge this gap for the Christmas feast. We got another turkey and we'll make some yeast rolls and do the whole thing. Just me said,
But,
Yeti, do you marinate your chicken in Italian dressing? If not, you should try it. That's actually what we do. That's my go-to. I marinate my steaks in Italian dressing too. It's fire.
Well, I was gonna say that pretty much wraps it up with where we're at.
Yeah, we went a half hour long. Appreciate everybody for being here. You can find me over at America First TV on YouTube. I am Worrell on X, so make sure you're following both of those. Subscribe on YouTube as well. Make sure you ring that notification bell because apparently YouTube isn't being my friend right now. I don't know for whatever reason why. I don't think I've done anything wrong, but they're not sending out the notifications for my videos today. So maybe it's just a one-day thing, but regardless, appreciate anybody that does subscribe and all that good stuff. Make sure you do consider joining the Discord. You can ask us. Oh, there goes my camera. You can submit shows things if you're ever curious or interested in possibly being on one of the shows in the future. That'd be the best way to reach out to us as well. I'm hoping after the holidays, Leonardo, Leo, what is his name? Leotardo?
House Leotardo.
House Leotardo. I'm hoping he comes on. He's been a nice source of knowledge coming from the comments section. So we're hoping to maybe have him on one day if he wants to. Chris is going to come back on soon, hopefully. Possessed Pappy asked, what state are we out of? I'm out of Florida.
I'm out of Mexico.
New. Wait.
No, Possessed Pappy giving me bad vibes. I'm actually currently operating out of Mexico.
Yeah.
I'm going to pick up Ciaritos as soon as I'm done here and eat a burrito.
and then jump the border real quick and get some free health care and get a free 5-star hotel.
Get my prepaid visa.
Yep. All that stuff.
Then I'll flex on all the veterans who get worse benefits than me as an illegal.
Yeah. John said collab with the Crucible. I'd love to.
Yeah.
I'd love to have some conversations with Andrew Wilson. And
yeah, Andrew Wilson's a dog. He's one of my top. Maybe he's probably my top 3 favorite comment creators.
Yeah, he's up there for me as well. I wish my videos when I cover his content did better because I like to share his stuff, but sometimes you can't go with what you want. You got to go with what your audience wants, and so that's what I love about these shows is we just have full on control and not trying to pay the bills with the live show yet. Hopefully, it'll just happen organically because you guys enjoy it and you guys share it and all that good stuff, you know.
Right.
But if you know the Crucible, get us connected.
Yeah. I would love to pick Andrew's brain about a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But anyways, let people know where they can follow you, and we'll get out of here.
Yeah, you can follow me on YouTube at Atlas Thugged, and you can follow me on X as it says there on screen. And you can also on X you'll find a bit more of my radical positions. Again, I am a Christian nationalist. I say a lot of things that are pretty unfriendly to the current social and political environment. But again, I also run a show too, offensively accurate, although it's pretty intermittent since I'm doing a lot with this show here too. But I do have older content you can probably go and look at that might still be relevant until today. But we appreciate everybody for being here. Make sure you join the Discord. You can contact us personally there, although it might take a bit for us to respond. We'll definitely see it there. And yeah, that's about it.
Cool. Yeah, I don't have my Discord notifications turned on, but I do check it multiple times per day. So anyways, hope to see you guys there. Appreciate everybody for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you do hit that like button, all that good stuff on the way out. And if you want to watch these episodes later on in the week, you'll find them on Atlas's channel because I do mark mine. I keep them up on YouTube, but I make them unlisted or whatever after this because keeping them up kind of hurts the algorithm with my daily videos, unfortunately. So anyways, they will still be up over on Atlas's channel. And we are trying to get Atlas over that 1,000 subscriber mark. He needs less than 100. And, with your help, we can get him over 1,000. And that's something you guys can do for free. With that, I'll say Christ is King. And we'll see you guys. Well, I won't be here on Monday. Atlas will be. And then the Wednesday show on Christmas. It's looking like I'll be available, but we're still going to play it by ear. So we might be here, we might not, but we're going to try to, if we are, keep it more lighthearted, have some fun, laugh at some stuff that, just play a montage of videos and funny stuff. Hopefully we can put together. I've been saving a couple things already, so it might be a shorter version. I don't know, but if I don't see you before then, you guys all have a Merry Christmas, and we will be back next Saturday for sure. So both of us together. So anyways, you guys will be able to catch the show on Monday over on Atlas's channel or on X on his X. So make sure you're following both of us. Crucible just went live for Christmas. Okay. Yeah. So anyways, you guys have a good one, and we'll see you later.
Yep. Take care.
Let's war rolling Atlas Dog. We here to bring the truth. Jar open this podcast. We breaking through the fake news. They try to silence us, but we will be subdued. We're bearded alpha males here to save the youth. Spitting fire on the mic with the bass Christian takes. Exposing the lies, keeping the demons at bay. We ain't afraid to speak up. We won't be swayed. Jar open this podcast where the truth is laid. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Dog. We're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. We ain't playing games, we're on a mission to awaken the masses with our intuition. Pulling out the corruption with no inhibition. Jar open this podcast, sparking a revolution. We're not afraid to stand tall in a world full of deceit. We're the voice of reason, bringing light to the street, keeping it real, never missing a beat. Jar open this podcast where the truth meets the heat. Jar openers, cracking open the lies. We're rolling Atlas Dog, we're here to rise. Bearded alpha males saving the youth from the godless demons, spreading the truth. Jar open this podcast where the truth will never cease. Join us on the journey to bring back peace. We're rolling Atlas Dog, fearless in our release. Jar open this podcast where the lies will decrease.